are listening to the
Hey, MFM. See you on the lips.
Back attack, dude.
Bon Voyage!
Hey, yo, homies, good.
Slide down them big hills, you know what I mean, on the big, nice burgundy snowboard.
Welcome to the Bomb Hole, which is presented by Pub Beer, purveyors of cheap fun. On a dry spell, reach for some courage. Pub Beer, facilitator of cheap fun. Today in studio co-hosting, we got Mark McMorris. Sparky, how we feeling?
Feeling like $1,000,000. Happy to be here.
Love that. We got our producer back there, Silk D. What's happening, Silk?
Beautiful day. Exciting episode.
What about Hayden Wrench sitting next to you?
Good, yeah.
I'm good as well.
Glad that you're here, Bobby. Glad to have you in stew. And the man of the hour, we got Craig McMorris in studio. How we feeling, Craig? What's happening?
Pumped to be here, stoked to ride situation.
All right, so for the people that don't know Craig is one of Canada's finest. He's a double threat, whether it's in the broadcasting booth, calling the X Games or the Olympics, to winning X Games bronze medals, filming for Real Street, to launching A grades in the backcountry. He's been putting out top-tier video parts for years. Craig lives, loves, and breathes snowboarding. So let's get into it, Craig. Why don't we just start with your Salt Lake City experience? You've been here for a few days. How's it been? What have we been getting into? Let's just start there.
2 words. Roller coaster of emotion.
Okay, that's more than 2.
I mean, it's 2 syllables. You got to clap it out. Roller coaster of emotion. Hayden Wrench and I. That is 2, right? That's 2 words.
Yep.
Also, I like the live and love snowboarding. I laugh snowboarding too.
Live, laugh, love.
Yeah, live, laugh, love snowboarding. Hayden Wrench and I flew down from Vancouver, British Columbia on Friday night, and we get into town and. The powder panic's real, right? Chris, you have a beautiful house. Thank you for hosting us. We get there. We show up Saturday morning to Brighton. Shout out Brighton. Thank you for the tickets. And, well, to be perfectly honest with you folks at home, we have a Millie meltdown. Just run one, okay? Everybody is excited to go, right? And Hayden and I have not seen these individuals for a number of years.
Maybe run through some names.
We're talking Sam Taxwood, Blake Paul, Harry Hagen, Nils Midnick, Zach Hale. So there's Mark was there.
I was there.
You were there.
Backstrom was there.
Ika Backstrom was there. Some San Diego imports, and so we're thinking vibes are high, right? We're slapping high fives. We're going to talk. We're going to figure out what is going on in these individuals' lives. We get up to the top of Millie, and boom, 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 they are gone. We haven't strapped in yet. Hayden's getting his camera situated, and if you're familiar with Brighton, that is a very long traverse, right? So there's a long traverse. By the time we actually get to the spot we drop in, everybody's gone. Hayden comes in with just some real choice words. And if you're familiar with Filmer Freakout, you can find that on Vimeo. This was Filmer Freakout Part 2. So started the day off terribly. Then it got way better. We hit practice jump, had an incredible session. If you're watching this, you can watch it on YouTube. We have a full weekend recap, Chris.
Yeah, maybe let's talk about the practice jump session, because I heard I-Man kind of got the most hard award. Everybody was wanting to get out of there. He had a one more hike situation going.
Yeah, so it was a pretty much Thrasher My War for Ika Backstrom on a trick that he had done 4 to 5 times already.
Perfectly.
Like, yeah, perfect. Little Tommy Gasmy, Jay Kuzik style, where it's like, I think, maybe an hour ago you had it. I don't know. So he's at war with this backside cork 3, what a barrel roll.
Yeah,
indie grab. Yeah,
he did it so butter and just was not happy with it. And that's the Ika Backstrom My War. I see it every day at Poods in the summer, and yeah, he lives and breathes the perfect clip.
Yeah, so we are flying around on practice jump. Blake,
maybe some notables. Yeah, give us some notables.
Blake had he was putting in reps, so you could tell that's a natural selection training ground for Blake. Blake Paul there, Dennis Rodman.
Well, Proddy. So Dennis Prodman, aka Dennis, aka Blake Paul,
because he's tall.
Not sure. I think it's because of the product. He got so much product.
Yeah.
We started calling him Dennis Prodman. But yeah, continue.
Beautiful backside rodeos. He was putting in some training. Great Cab 5. Mark did like that Nollie backside rodeo 7. I thought was really cool.
Thanks, Greg. I think your land percentage might have been the highest out of anyone.
Like Devin Walsh numbers? What are we talking?
Yeah, I would say probably 12 hits, 9 makes.
Wow.
And, he had that filmer pressure. He had Hayden there and big YouTube coming up. So the guy was finding his feet.
It was a this is not a game situation. This is not a game to me. Felt like Matt Damon in Good Will
Practice
Hunting.
jump my ass.
Yeah, do you know how easy
time to clip.
this is for me? But then there was an all call on the radio. Hayden heard. He was the only one that heard because we had a hike out there a little bit, and he didn't really want to. Is that true, Hayden? Okay. He didn't really want to be out there that much. After about 2 hours of watching middle-aged men try tricks and not even come close, there was an all call for all snowboarders to go down. I didn't hear it. I don't think anybody else heard it, but we had a lot of fun on that one. Actually, no, shout out Spencer Schubert.
Yeah, can we talk about the Cab 9?
The Cab 9 was one for the books.
If you could call it that, yeah.
Switchback Rodeo 7. The guy can jump.
Yeah.
It was more of like a switch, Jesus take the wheel takeoff and then figure it out at the bottom. But he did the kind of Bodie thing where I've never done this trick before.
You're lying.
But I mean, if you do it on a hip and you do it on a straight jump, I think, and all respect, please don't come at me, keyboard warriors, but I don't think you've already done it.
All right, people, going to interrupt this banter marathon with Craig and Mark to talk to you about a couple bomb hole things. Now, first, Bomb Hole Cup is April 6th and 7th. Even if you're not competing, come check it out up at Brighton Resort. It is a great spectator event. We got mandatory 900s. We got the limo session with the gauntlet of people. This year, we're doing a national anthem with some elite singers to be announced. All kinds of pros coming out. So come be a member of the community and hang out, have a beer, maybe have a smelling salt up at Bomb Hole Cup, April 6th and 7th. Also, on our store, we got sticker packs. These things are bursting at the seams. I'm a sticker guy. I love them. We pack these things to the gills. So if you're interested in getting some Bombhole stickers, check out bombhole.com. We got hats. We got beanies. We got hoodies. We got what you need over there. Also, I want to take this moment to say thank you so much to our Patreon members. We could not do this show without you. You guys support us, and we appreciate you so much. So if you want to support the show, you can check out our Patreon. You can also support the show just by subscribing. If you're on Apple Podcasts, if you're on Spotify, if you're on YouTube, it doesn't matter the platform. Just subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Even stuff like leaving a comment, sharing the episode. We don't pay for any Google ads or anything like that. All of the promotion comes from you guys. So anybody that tunes in, I want to say thank you guys. We appreciate it, all of our Patreon members. And let's get back to the banter marathon. I'd like to lean into this Cab 9 a little bit because to me it was very reminiscent of like a deer getting hit by a car. Like just sprawled out body, very violent.
It's very similar to like a lot of police investigators when a human being gets hit by a car, their shoes go flying. And it kind of looked like Spencer Schubert. Like if his boots were not strapped to that snowboard, those things would be in the they'd be in the lift line for Millie.
Dude, I'm pretty sure I saw a ride lace in the bottom of the landing. Something went flying. There were and Boggs, big shouts.
Oh,
to
big
Boggs.
shout out to Boggs. Yeah,
yeah.
now that we start getting into it.
Yeah,
ooh,
Bogdale, the unsung hero.
absolutely. And just, he kind of had a my war with the front 3 as well, too.
Yep.
Where it was a front 1 that turned into a front 2,
Laced up a front 5.
Yeah.
You can always count on Boggs for a clip.
especially going front side.
Make or not, it's a clip.
Yeah. The most trusted name in real estate, Mike Boggs.
Okay, so let's keep things moving. So practice jump done. You guys come down the hill. Where do we go from there?
Well, we were all packed up, ready to go. Everybody's excited. Hayden's exciting. We're going home. We're gonna go get some coffees. We're gonna go get some lunch.
To be fair, I enjoyed the day quite a lot.
Yeah. We're not. Yeah, you enjoyed it. It was just that's the joke. That was the running joke. We're all at the bottom of the jump, and then Ika just kind of looks back up, and I'm not gonna lie, he had the craziest look in his eye, and he looks at Mark. And he says, "I'm going again." So then they hike all the way back up. He gets one more. Not even close. Yeah, not even close. Not even close.
Follow cam was so sick. I was like, I'll do a jump follow with you. And everyone brings his packs down, or all the packs down. And I jump and follow him. It looks kind of cool. And he misses it. But then we go all the way to the bottom and like, boom, walk all the way up, try again. And it didn't work out. But the crew was willing to wait out another one, or at least they were saying that. But Ika called it.
What's crazy is when you're at the bottom, you're looking at a landing that has just been hit for 3 hours. This is a very small jump, folks, and these are some big boys flying around, and there was a lot of body hitting before board. So, shout out bomb holes. A lot of them.
Yeah.
So that landing looked like the the Vimy Ridge, right? It looked like a war zone.
A little bit of an Iwo Jima situation.
Yeah, it was a tough one. And the fact that he went up there again. So we finished that, went and had a nice lunch, and that was Saturday.
Okay.
We still have a lot more days. I'm sorry, I'm dragging this thing out.
No, let's run it through.
Sunday, we show up. We're missing a very integral part of the crew by the name of Hayden Wrench. I get a text at 1 a.m. just, I have food poisoning.
You don't want that text.
There's a few texts in the morning you don't want, and that is definitely one of them. Hayden, can you just talk about your war?
Oh, yeah, shit, man. I had my war. Chris was nice enough to let us stay at his new place. Let's just say we broke in one of the toilets.
Yep, some durability testing.
That thing works great.
Okay.
But yeah, just we were doing really good. We had fucking 3 meals back to back, all Mexican. Amazing. One at the airport, Denver. One when we landed, little pregame, and then one in the evening just to settle it down, right?
Yep.
That was on landing day Friday, so I think we're good.
Yep.
I don't think that was the culprit.
No.
Saturday, didn't eat nothing, went right into riding,
Yep.
went to... No, should we say it? Is that defamation?
We went to a burger place that shall remain nameless.
That shall remain nameless with a garlic burger that I
Okay.
had. And then, yeah, I got
It rhymes with phony.
I got violently fucking ill at like 1 in the morning. I'm tiptoeing around this fucking beautiful house, and I'm just like, oh God, why me, man? Like, it's the worst timing. I get 1 week vacation a year, and this is it, and I'm blowing it. I felt so bad.
It's not a blowing it situation. It's more of like,
Oh,
I don't.
literally, I was.
So we're missing Hayden, and this is the day we're going to go kind of get after it. Bodie's going to join us. Shane Charlebois is going to join us. Couple absolute real ones. And we get on top of this step down.
We're forgetting one key item. We played some hockey on Friday night as well.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
we dangled some twig. Yep. So let's talk about that.
I mean, should I put on my helmet?
Okay, sorry, we had to do a brief intermission. We had to get into the hockey spirit. For the listeners, I'm wearing my helmet. I got no birdcage, open mask, Zdeno Chara, and Craig. Mark, maybe you could describe Craig's look he's got going on.
Craig's like that adult safe player that spends crazy amounts of money on his gear. He's got the sickest Oakley tinted visor. He's not trying to let the person know where he's looking, where he's passing. He's an incredible hockey player, but he also looks the part.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of pressure when you show up to adult safe looking as drippy as Craig.
Mm-hmm.
One time we did a charity a charity hockey game, and Mark didn't have any gear, so we kind of went to this hockey store, and he got hooked up.
Big shouts Nike.
Big shouts Nike. They hooked him up, but they gave him like a white bucket with the OV full tint, and we're also playing against like ex-NHLers. So it's like this is the toughest. There's no way you're gonna outplay him. So you're just that guy.
You got to outlook him.
Yeah, you got to outlook him, which looked great. But thank you. And honestly, I'm not even trying to like. Oakley sent me this. They sent me some clear ones, and I tried this Prism one on, and we play in it like it's kind of a darker rink, and it actually does the same as the goggles. Like it makes it a little brighter. And I was like,
reader.
this, yeah. So the line miner, it actually makes it a little brighter. And once you play with it, you can't take it off.
Yeah. I respect it. You know, I'm a no birdcage guy myself, but I love the visor.
You just don't want anything, you just love the way you see the game, eh?
I got
OG Boston.
eyes in the back of the head. You know, I will say when we went out and we were dangling twig, we were getting surgical with the lumber.
Yep.
It was our chemistry on the ice was unlike anything I've ever experienced.
And we also, folks at home, we're playing against Seth Hewitt and his son, Mason Hewitt. So I don't think you can have better chemistry than with your son, right? They've known each other their entire lives. We have known each other, not as long as they have, obviously, but it was electric out there. I felt like I had eyes in the back of my head. I knew where you were before you knew where you were going to be.
Mm-hmm. I'll say the fitness on this kid, he was not getting tired. Mason, he might want to get checked for steroid use or performance enhancing because the kid did not get tired. His recovery was unbelievable.
Well, he said he was 15 and he's 6'3", 210.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to get a passport or an ID thing and it just said, I'm 15. I was like, that's not legal government ID, sir.
Yeah, we were trying to track down a birth certificate and it came up empty-handed, but
it was really fun. We landed on Friday night and went straight to the rink, and there's a good way to shake off the plane legs.
And can we talk about Bobby Boudoir, aka Hayden? The kid's got a clapper on him like you read about.
Thank you.
Again,
I'm incredibly sad I missed this.
Yeah. How's Sparky on the ice?
Sparky's amazing. He, you know what? He got shoulder pads, and everybody on my team said you look like Patty Kane.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you look like Showtime out there.
Hey,
Breaking
take
hearts. Yeah, but that was pretty sick. Also, what was I going to say? I had a lot of fun playing hockey. That was a ton of fun. Unfortunately, unfortunately, the pond hockey tournament that we were supposed to do got canceled, but we still got on the ice.
Yeah, we got on the ice, and that's what it's all about. We would have, honestly, it would have been unfair for the other teams had we entered the pond hockey tournament, since our chemistry just was through the roof.
It wouldn't have been fair, and also. I'm so sorry I broke your stick.
Oh, yeah. You broke 2 sticks.
I broke 2 sticks. I broke the stick that I flew here with, and then Chris was kind enough to give me his backup stick, and I absolutely made it a toothpick.
I think we should talk about the kids' lumber a little bit. Me, I'm a just civilian consumer. I go to Pure Hockey. I buy a stick. Craig, on the other hand, name on the stick, Craig McMorris. Boom.
Craig is extremely spawnied. He gets all the sickest gear, but he really lives and breathes hockey. He plays so much in Whistler at like 11 p.m. He's showing up to these games. He's really about it. And he deserves the sponsorship. You know, he's basically in the NHL without being in the NHL. He's got tinted visors.
Yep.
$500 sticks, like 9 options for gloves. Like
it's just one off season away. The only thing that separates me, McKinnon, and Crosby is just our workouts.
Okay.
That's the only thing.
I like that. Yeah. I like that. Now
you eat the same amount of pasta, just don't put up the same.
I eat
weight.
a lot more burritos.
Now, I think if we're talking hockey, and the real run through a wall smelling salts came from hockey, from us watching hockey. So Sparky, if you want to indulge. Craig, I think it's only fair.
Thank you.
We're on the topic.
Yeah. If this is like you're trying to recover, you just had a hard 45-minute shift, you're heading out for a pee.
45 minutes.
45-second.
Okay,
45-second shift, sorry.
I'm the goalie.
And you're 45-minute shift, it's overtime, continuous OT. And you're a fourth liner. Yeah. So this is you're heading out for a PP. You need to get fired up.
Yep.
Boom. Oh. Woo. Ah! Oh, yeah. Oh. I don't know if you
put
saw
it
that.
like right in your eye.
That's the eye is the Barkov technique, which we don't recommend to our consumers.
Sasha Barkov.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out Mile High and Stars hockey teams. They would they'd eat the brick alive.
Oh yeah.
Can you see anything right now, Craig?
I can't see anything. The eyes was a bad choice.
Now let's talk about that because you guys are you're from Regina, which is in Canada, and all honesty, do you? I cannot take myself seriously. In all honesty, do you wish
fantastic
you were a pro hockey player? Like in like if you were to draw it all up again, are you kind of regretful that you didn't make it to the show?
Honestly, I love hockey so much, loved playing it growing up, was pretty convinced that was the route I was going. But I truly loved the side of snowboarding that there was no one telling you how to do it or what to do. Honestly, I can't tell you. I don't have regrets, though. I'm so happy I am where I am. And we have so many friends that play in the NHL, and they have the greatest lives, but they don't see what we see. We get to go all around the world, international, and they're like hockey rink, bus, plane,
wakeboard
same
boat.
thing. Wakeboard boat. Yeah,
Mark, coach would have put you in, though. I think you could have made the league.
Well, there's a lot of water to go under the bridge before then.
A lot of frozen ice. It's the classic when somebody tells you to do something, you don't want to do it, right? I think, Chris, you expressed that to me a lot, right? So when you're younger and you're kind of like 11, 12, and there's hockey coaches and there's structure, the thing you want to do is fight against that. And the thing that you can fight against that with is going snowboarding, right? Like that is the anti-coach, anti-structure, anti-practice. So that's where I think we leaned into that pretty heavy. But it's just also intense, I feel like hockey is so intense for kids. Some kids are built for it. I was not built for that intensity at such a young age.
Especially where we come from, hockey's taken more serious than pretty well anywhere around the world. Like there's more NHL players from where we're from per capita than anywhere else in the world. So the programs we were in at a young age were extremely intense, and we love the game so much. But something was pushing us towards snowboarding, and we just loved, because we didn't ever get to play together, and snowboarding we would do together, and we could really feed off that brotherly energy. And yeah, I don't know. Now we get to full circle and play hockey a ton now, and
Dangle twig.
yeah, I don't think we'd want it any other way.
No, it is fun to like put it away. You kind of hated it. And then, Hayden, I don't know if you feel the same way. Like when you become an adult and you start playing hockey again, you think you're in the show. Handy P.
You know those good fundies that you had when you were a kid? They were showing out there in the ice.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Let's run it back. I've never been to Regina, Saskatchewan, but from what I understand, flat kind of farmland. Let's get into how Craig Mick found snowboarding.
Saskatchewan, flattest place on earth. But I find, you know, you look at
flat earther. Basically.
I'm a flat earther, so
Okay,
yeah, I have yet to believe that the world is round. It's my heritage. No, Don McMorris actually was the man, because he built like the sickest drop-in for us. Like we wanted to do it. And it's the classic, like the thing that you can't do, you want to do the most. Like we had a trampoline. We were lucky enough to like kind of go wakeboarding a bunch when we were young. Not kind of, like we did a ton when we were younger. Mark was fantastic at skateboarding. I stuck to rollerblading because I was obsessed with, you know, the Japanese twins in X Games.
Oh yeah, half pipe guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, that is the coolest thing in the world. I was also in gymnastics, and you could like kind of do flips and stuff. And so that was like appealed to me. Now that I'm a little bit older, really, that's a regret a little bit. Not a regret, but I didn't know any better. So we did everything around snowboarding, like snowboarding, but you couldn't do snowboarding. So the one thing you can't do, you want to do the most. We were very fortunate to get on the Saskatchewan snowboard team and get hooked up by Russell Davies, who would drive us out to the mountains. Absolute air horn for Russell Davies, a gentleman named Russell who actually lives in a town called Russell. So he took us out to the mountains, drove so far. I mean, it was just like a place where you don't get good at snowboarding, but that's like kind of what you want to do.
So would you guys go to like Banff or go to the surrounding mountain ranges?
We do Mission Ridge. Major shout out to Mission Ridge. Mike and Ann, you're the best. We'd go there on the weekends. Donnie Mack would build us the drop-in. Russell Davies would take us to COP. That's where we like saw Jed and stuff like that. It was like an 8.5 hour drive from where we were. So we'd leave like Thursday night, get there, ride all weekend. And then they would just be such a battle. Mark, I don't know if you remember the phone calls of Russell Davies to our mom, who, bless her heart, she was education first. And when you show up, when you're like, your kids are calling you every single other weekend, being like, we can't make it on Monday. We're not going to make it. It's too good. We can't leave. And that battle kind of ensued a little bit. So, tumultuous times in the middle there, but that's kind of how we got into it. And I don't know. Saskatchewan breeds character. Would you agree with me, Sparkle?
I think so.
Yeah.
Speaking of Saskatchewan, I don't know if you can hear in your headphones.
I'm gonna take off my bucket.
Take off your bucket. Yeah, take off your bucket. We got a question from your guys' dad, Don. So throw those headphones on, Craig. And this is kind of for both of you guys. Here we go.
Hey, Craig, it's your dad. I
That's
just
my
wanted
dad.
to ask you
Hey, that's
so
my
that
dad.
you could tell the audience, how many attempts did it take for you to get your driver's license, if you remember? And then do you remember how many it took for your brother to get his driver's license? Just a question.
The driver's license debacle of how old were we? Maybe
15, 16.
Yeah. I was just trying to do in years, 2006, 2007. So I was lucky enough where we grew up. We didn't grow up on a farm, but our parents had a farm. And on those dirt roads, you could practice driving, right? So I put in my work. And on December 14th, my birthday, at 10 a.m., I had my thing scheduled, got it with, I think I only had 2 points deducted. And I remember I had like a little Dodge Dakota that I was doing the test in that had no weight in the back and it was really icy. So I'm like on my driver's test and we start slipping like on a main road. And then I do like I do like the save, like the Tokyo Drift save. And the driver instructor was like, holy shit, that was amazing. And I was like, I got it. It's over. It's too easy. So I got that on the day that I turned 16, which is a big unlock, especially if you're going to like the mountains and stuff like that. But poor Sparky, it was not fair though. I feel like it wasn't fair for you.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Because the first day
at
you
15, I was already on it, like doing the Arctic Challenge, doing all these things, traveling around the world full on in it first year. And then I go home sick as a dog. mom's like, "Okay, your thing's scheduled. Go for your driver's license." And I hadn't even ever like driven or practiced, and then I just fail, and I was so bummed.
It's a classic, like, where's your biggest cliff? Do you have any rentals situation?
Yeah, like who's got the Civic, and where do I sign?
Yeah.
So yeah, it took me a few tries for sure. I think I got it on my third try because I might have tried that time, didn't go well, went back on the road, kept traveling, kept competing, kept doing whatever, just trying to make it in snowboarding, and then came back, failed again, and I think I got it in the summer or something. But it wasn't as easy for me as Craig, but you needed it more. I wasn't driving around, like I had nowhere to drive. So, but that's a big moment in your life, right? Getting your license,
Especially when you're like, you have to drive to go snowboarding everywhere, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Chris, did you get it first try?
Oh yeah, I FT'd it. Yeah, that was late work for me. But you know,
What were you driving?
my first pickup truck, I don't remember what the test was, but I had a 1985 Chevy Z71 short bed with the shifter was up here, and there was an exhaust leak into the cab to where I had to drive around with the windows down. But it was one of those situations, and I remember it was around the time Young Buck, like 50 Cent was hitting, so it was a lot of, like, I think I put a 10-inch subwoofer in the back, and it was just a lot of 50 Cent, a lot of Young Buck,
A lot of exhaust.
a lot of exhaust poisoning. Yeah,
You didn't take your test in that one,
I
though.
didn't take it. Yeah, I don't remember. You know, they have in America. You have the driver's got a wheel on their side too. It was some like piece of shit. You know,
Oh, yeah.
something
That
like
would be a good technique, though, because then you could, the driver's instructor would pass out due to the exhaust. You write whatever you want on there, and I get it first try every time.
We're going to use my truck. I installed a second steering wheel on this thing. All right, we're going to get into a great section of the show. This is a classic, and it's called Run Through Wall Trivia.
Welcome to Run Through Wall Trivia.
You're fired.
Okay, so how this works, Sparky, well, you're going to be the countdown guy. He's got 5 seconds to answer every single question. Now, Craig, I got high expectations for you because you're sharp as a whip.
Power.
Sharp as a tack.
Okay.
Yep. So we had a bunch of them. It's kind of, it's Saskatchewan related, it's hockey related, it's snowboard related. We're all over the place with this trivia. So, you know, it's rapid fire. So as soon as you get it wrong, if you get it wrong, you do assault, and I'm right into the next one. Okay. So, Godspeed. This is a Jesus take the wheel situation.
A little Carrie Underwood here.
Okay, first question. What does the word Regina mean?
It's the Queen's name.
That's correct. Spell Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
That is correct. What is the elevation of Regina?
500 meters?
577.
Very, very close.
Very close, though. Okay. Canada set a new record for most gold medals won by a country in a single Winter Olympics at the 2010 Winter Olympics in Vancouver. How many medals was that? 4,
27.
2, 14. Okay. Frank April is from what town in Quebec?
Trois-Rivières.
Wow.
Bonus question. What is the translation in English for that town?
The Three Rivers.
That's correct. Who's the NHL's leading goal scorer of all time?
Wayne Gretzky. Sorry, who is Wayne Gretzky?
That's correct. Who is the second leading goal scorer of all time?
The Russian gas, Alexander Ovechkin.
That's correct. Who is currently the fastest skater in the NHL?
Connor McDavid just won the NHL All-Star Lap.
That's correct. What trick did JP Walker do on the Forum step down in Double Decade?
Back 10 tail?
That's correct.
Good job.
This is a tricky one. Here we go. What is Bodie's ender in the Absinthe video Neverland? 5, 4,
1 footer on pyramid gap?
2, 1. He does a switchback 180 and then lands and does a back 10 double. It's a double line.
Oh, you're right.
Bonus,
I'm sorry. That is
backwards basketball shot from half point as well. Okay.
I'm not going to sleep tonight.
What is Jake Kuzik's ender in landline?
Oh my God, it is such a beautiful backside 180 switch wall ride to 180 out. Russia, great wall. Like, what a spot.
That's correct. What
Wow,
song
Craig.
does Cale Stevens ride to in the Mac Dog video Shakedown?
4, 3, 2.
Doesn't he break his nose so bad in the part? And it's, I can't. I don't. I'm sorry.
Was amazing.
Oh, no. I couldn't
Juvenile, back that thing up.
back that thing up.
Back
and I
that
was going to,
thing
yeah,
up.
that's why I didn't
Yeah.
want to say it. I didn't
Yeah, I
feel,
just wanted
feel
to be
comfortable.
politically correct.
Yeah.
What is Louis Ender in Deja Vu? What's the clip?
Which Deja Vu? Are we talking Encore or Deja Vu, the
Deja
self-titled
Vu
album?
1.
That would be in Finland, he does a board slide on the white rail. It's like down C, and then he pops to the other side.
That is correct.
Wow.
What is Aaron Bittner's opening clip in Follow Me Around?
It's his very first thing he does is he actually falls into the stairs 50-50 and lands on that absolute dry concrete. Snowboarding's not dead, whatever it is. You guys have some wet dreams over that. But he does a beautiful, is a switch 50-50? No, it's a regular 50-50 on that down, flat down, though.
50-50 back one. It's the follow cam down the road.
In the Tech 9, on the Tech 9
Oh, you're
board.
right. And he
then
kind of lands not
pops-
going super fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was a shoo-in, but I do like, you do know the part. I will say, I'll give that to you.
Because I guess that's the first make.
Did you
right?
do it? That's the first. Yeah, that's the first make. So technically, this is arguable.
We'll
you could argue
litigate
that
this, yeah.
trick make. I could have been more clear. Okay, here we go. What trick does Aero Etzla do on a soccer goal in the net with netting on it in the middle of his part in Follow Me Around?
Front board, same way.
It's actually a back lip same way, but
Oh yeah, he does do. It's
we're
like
kinda
back tail.
splitting
Yeah,
hairs.
it's a back tail same way. It is the jump is kind of straight on. You know what I'm saying? A little bit.
You could debate it.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Okay,
I'll take a halfer.
take a halfer.
It's a halfer.
Okay. What is UC's quote from his video part while they're in Alaska in Follow Me Around?
He jumps into the ice cold water in the harbor. And that's also the one where his ender is just a helicopter taking off while he walks down the runway. See,
You're kind of Louis Vitoing the question.
I'm trying to.
You're
I'm trying to
buy some time.
Yeah.
You're trying to buy some
I
time.
think it's been 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's definitely been. I'm gonna pass. Can I phone a friend?
Mark, do you know it?
What does he say? It's right before he jumps in, right?
Yeah, he says he's in the car and he's like, "Me and DCP tight match. I lost. We gotta swim in the sea in Alaska in
It's
April.
freaking cold. Something
Not
like
good.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I apologize.
Okay.
I actually jumped in that a couple of years ago. It's in Valdez, Alaska.
Was it cold?
It's very cold.
Okay. All right.
Do you want to talk about somebody that likes cold water right here?
Chris started his day with an ice bath.
Oh yeah. Well, we're still in Run Through Wall trivia.
sorry.
Last question. Can you name the 10 Canadian provinces?
Yep. Do you want me to go left to right or right to left?
Doesn't matter to me.
Left to right. BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, Labrador, PEI. And I said Quebec already.
I think you forgot one of the most obvious ones. Where the I almost counted 10, but well, you're talking about territories.
Yeah,
We're
you're
still talking about
territories.
provinces.
Just provinces,
I
right?
think you forgot where the did you say where the Leafs play? Did he throw that one out?
Ontario,
Oh,
yeah.
you did. I swear I counted 10.
I'm pretty sure you.
I counted
nailed
10 on
them
my
all.
hand.
Yeah. BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan.
I was just
Manitoba,
counting as you were going through, and I
Quebec.
counted 10. So I think you got them.
Yeah.
All right, congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats. Nice. Nice work.
That was
I wasn't being.
But I'm gonna fact check you. I'm gonna fact check you on one of your questions and answers.
Okay.
Frank April's hometown, I don't believe is.
Rivière du Loup?
It is.
is Rivière du Loup. I said Trois-Rivières.
Yeah,
So
right,
I actually, he said it with such confidence that when he said Rivière du Loup, I actually thought I was wrong.
No.
No, it was.
So
It's
let's
Rivière-
talk
right
about
if you
that.
have Rivière du Loup.
I have Rivière du Loup written down here.
Yeah.
So, but he said it with such confidence that I was like, wait a second, maybe I'm getting this wrong. And all right, bonus question then. What does Rivière du Loup mean in French?
It's like River of the Wolf or
That's
something.
correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice fact check, Hayden.
Thank you, Hayden.
Good call on
yeah,
that.
and I apologize.
Yep.
And the reason I made that mistake is because we stayed in Rivière du Loup, but we were filming in Trois-Rivières, and I always get those two mixed
Yep.
up. They're very close together, are they not?
No.
They're like 3 hours
Fuck
apart.
me. Yeah.
I wasn't too harsh on the counting either, but you were pretty quick on them all. So good job, Craig.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
I
Pretty good showing.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk Master Plan Communications. It's a PR agency to take your brand to the next level. They have worked in snowboarding for a long time with brands like Cole, Dekine, 32, and many more. Now, my buddy Ashton runs it, and he's been in snowboarding for a long time. He loves it. He breathes it. He even jibs the top of the 32 bus from time to time up at Brighton. And if you're interested in finding a PR agency, go to Masterplan Communications. They offer everything from social media strategy to web design to brand design to PR campaigns. They are all about strategic PR programs with measurable results. If you want to elevate your brand, check out masterplancommunications.com for more info. And let's keep supporting brands run by snowboarders. All right, let's keep it moving here, folks. You guys were both just at X Games, and I think it's one thing that'll be interesting to talk about is you were in the booth, and then you were in the field competing, double threat. How was that experience?
It was wild, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody that's trying to do good at an event because you have this mic pack on you, so you have a microphone, and then you have like what's called IFB, which is attached to like this radio. That's another big thing that you put in your pocket. So then you're listening to the commentators, and Mark was commentating alongside Jack Matrani, Brandon Graham. And it was hilarious. It was like listening to a really, really funny podcast while you're trying to focus and like, do your intense little rail tricks. And there were so many times I'd be about to drop in and like, I just remember
you
one.
Just hear Mark's lisp.
He's like, yeah. I'm trying to say fire alarm. You're like, I know. I'm dead. One Jack was like, do a cab 9 as I'm like taking off on like one of the things. So it was really, really fun. I hope the people that watched it like laughed because I thought it was hilarious.
I thought you had a pretty good showing.
Thank you.
Front 2 pull, switch front board.
Switch front board Pretz.
Pretty.
Yeah.
Like,
thank you.
With all that gear on you, it was really cool to see you compete.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. It was really cool to see you in the booth, too. It was funny. It was hilarious.
Like Step Brothers when they're like, let's do a little role reversal here.
Yeah,
kind of scenario.
that could be a helpful exercise. Yeah.
How much would you say you make a year after taxes?
I'm not comfortable answering. I might use that answer today. But it was really, really fun to like do. I think it was sick that X Games did the rail jam. Like, just adding those like fun different events and like, breaking down that fourth wall. I loved competing. Like I loved boarding in the rail jam and then also like broadcasting and chopping it up with those guys. I think it's like really fun, different way of doing it. And then obviously we have those staples. So I had a blast. We switched up for the first time ever. We were at the base of the event and thankfully it was beautiful. It wasn't snowing. It was pretty warm. So you could kind of like function. But it was sick to see like Mark land a run and then just like reach over, dap him up and like, hey, what are you going to do on the next one with a microphone, So I thought that was really, really cool. I don't know, from a rider's perspective, was that annoying?
No, I thought it was rad. And yeah, like quick little snippet interviews right after the run. And then also I got to see you more this X Games than anyone previously. So it was cool. And I think they did a pretty good job. It was a little bit scaled back, but I thought the broadcast was good. People seemed really hype on your commentating.
Thank you.
I had a good time. I was happy to land a run. I mean, successful. We got out unscathed.
Can we just give a little round of applause for Mark Morris?
No.
Slopestyle silver medalist. 22 all-time, the most winningest X Games athlete in the winter.
We have 24 between the two of us.
Yeah, 24 between the two of us, right? Yep. So as a brother duo. We are. we're exactly. I don't know which one's Wayne. But before we move on from that, Chris, how was your? Because you watched some of it. Yeah. I feel like I really value your opinion, and like you watch so much snowboarding. So like, what was your perception of the entire games?
I mean, I think there's a lot of really exciting things happening in competitive snowboarding. Women's slope was really fun.
Max.
That was electric. Men's slope was really fun. I think men's half pipe is getting really exciting with the switch Mick pulley and Ayumu. Unfortunately, Ayumu couldn't put down a run. Knuckle Huck's a great show. And then, I mean, leaning into broadcasting, I mean, I think this would be a fun wormhole too because I'm getting my foot in the door in some of this broadcasting stuff. And a lot of people see the the final product, but what you don't realize is there's like this beautiful orchestra happening behind the scenes of somebody's in a producer truck. They got a million different angles. They got there's a producer in your ear saying, "Hey, talk about this," as you're in the middle of talking. And I would love to hear you kind of elaborate on the orchestra that is production.
Kind of like what Silk D does back there.
Yeah,
you know?
Silk D.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's the octopus.
I'm in my
he's
own
touching
little truck
everything.
back
Yeah. First of all, shout out Brandon Graham.
Yeah.
I have worked alongside him and Rob Snook. I've worked alongside both those gentlemen for a long time, and I have had the pleasure of learning from them because, you know, when you come into this as a rookie, there's very few people you can look up to, and there's very few ways you can practice. It's a baptism by fire. So getting to work with like true professionals, I think has made me into like the broadcaster I am today. But to your point, it is wild. Tora Bright was doing it for the first time with us on the women's event, and she crushed it. But you could I was like, hey, you're going to hear a lot of noise. It's not going to sound like we're on air. And then all of a sudden we're going to be on air, and it's going to be really kind of scary at first, but you just got to like trust it, follow the puck, as I like to say. Like, if just listen to us, and we're going to talk to you and talk to us back. And when you hear somebody talk in your ear, probably don't talk. You know, like, we're probably going to commercial. So it's a bit of mental gymnastics, but the more you do it, like anything, you just like figure it out. Now I show up to X Games and it's so fun. It's so easy. Like, I feel like confident in what I'm doing. The first couple of years, you just don't want to make a mistake. And I make mistakes all the time. Everybody, my keyboard warriors, my keyboard Keiths that get at me. I love you guys. It's fun. I do make mistakes. I said 1960 in the big air, but I was also trying to do like
Hell of a year.
I was trying to do like the most mental, like your brain, you can literally see steam coming out of my ears trying to like, okay, I know we're going to go to commercial in 10 seconds. What did Takaru Atsuka try on run 2? Compare that to run 3. Do you remember what he did on run 3? And then throw it to Brandon before we have to get out in 10 seconds. So it's like you make mistakes, and I kind of used to beat myself up over that. But now, you can't be perfect every single time.
Big applause for Craig in the booth.
Oh, thank
Also, like, can I just highlight the fact that we're going through, and I'm asking you extremely technical snowboarding questions in this trivia about like what's Lewis Ender, and you are a snowboard encyclopedia, and you care about it, and you're still filming amazing video parts. You got an X Games bronze medal in Real Street, and you're so dedicated to snowboarding that I think it's really important that we have people like yourself in that booth that know all those tricks, but you also have to dumb it down for your audience too, right? It's not like you're talking to Uncle Jim on the couch, right?
For sure. I'm really happy you brought that up, because some people will be like, they'll look at me broadcasting something and be like, okay, well, that's just not like the way that a core snowboarder would talk about it. And I'm like, absolutely. Like, this broadcast isn't for you. You know all the tricks, right? I'm talking to the person sitting beside you that we maybe want to educate a little bit into snowboarding. The way that I broadcast CBC, like Canadian broadcast coverage of the Olympics, like, that is the ultimate of like, okay, switch means the unnatural every single time, and you got to beat it over the head because there's somebody watching slopestyle for the first time ever, right? So let's not exclude that individual. Let's make it so simple. They should never look to somebody and be like, what does that mean? Like, we should have over-explained it every single time. Where X Games, I can kind of bump it up a little bit and do a little bit of a hybrid, but you still, like, your fiance, Brittany, we were asking, like, what did you think of it? And she's like, well, when you guys got excited, I knew that was good, right? She doesn't know anything about, like, competition snowboarding. So it's really important to, like, give it energy, give it pace, over-explain everything, and as well as not alienating the core. Or like, and core with quotations. What is that?
We're in a really good place to have someone like Craig that has that encyclopedia of knowledge about our sport, but also can completely dumb it down and be a TV personality and give it to the person that's seeing it for the first time. It's truly, we're lucky to have you in that position.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you.
Love that. And another thing to note too is like the excitement is a good thing. You know, there's nothing worse than a broadcast where somebody is flat. It just sucks the air of the room. So flat you don't even look good when you're singing type of situation.
$1,000 a week.
$1,000 a week for singing lessons. This is what we get.
Flat.
That's not
flat.
That's not what we're here for. But when it's like Brittany said, you know, when you're excited, it's infectious to the audience. And so
I think and I try to
be animated, and you are amazing at getting so overly hyped to bring that non-watching of snowboarding viewer into it.
Yeah, and if there's any, like, and this is also what I've noticed too, is when you watch yourself back on TV, or especially on TV, when you're talking at your normal level, you look depressed and pissed off. Straight up. TV like just always brings the energy. So whenever you're on TV, give it 20% more, and that actually looks normal. Then like 50% more is like, oh, they're kind of like, they're into it, they're excited, they're going for it, you know?
Hey, you're entertainers. That's the thing. It's entertainment.
Dance monkey.
Simply put. Yeah. We got a Patreon question. Huge shout out to our Patreon members. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We appreciate you guys. Kind of like public radio. If you like it, you can sign up and you get to ask a question. And we just appreciate you. So this is from John Martin.
Oh my God. Big shout.
Let's give him a big old air horn. He says, Craig McMorris sighting. I've always wanted to know, when you're announcing X Games / Olympics, when your brother is competing, is it hard to put emotions aside when you're really rooting for him, or when he takes a slam? ?
Great question, John Martin. Thank you for supporting the bomb hole. It's folks like you that keep this train running. Now, it's a weird situation you find yourself in, because you're so focused. And I want to say that I do, like, obviously I care. Like, when I watch it back, like, my heart's all in there. Like, that's my brother. I care about it so much. But you are so focused on it, and like, you're trying to create the best product. Like, I don't know if you've watched the last couple X Games. We've been so lucky. The closer comes in, the last run, you know, he gets to drop last, and you set it up and you let it breathe, because you are just trying to think of, like, what is the most grandiose? How do we make this the biggest it possibly can be? The most exciting? Like, how do we get people's hairs to stand up on their arm? It's like, set it up and then, like, let it breathe. Just like watch it, right? So I'm just so focused on making this incredible that I'm like, I want you to land, and I don't want you to get hurt, and I don't want anybody to get hurt, because everybody's my friend in the field. Like, I'm dapping up everybody. I'm texting people like, you got it. What are you thinking? It's just like I'm at work right now. I am so focused. So at the end, to answer your question, very long-winded, I care about it after, but in it, you're just so focused, you know?
Totally. People will say that to me. Like, I don't know how Craig does that. He's not biased, all this stuff. And you really do, like, put on your game face. It's incredible, because if I was in that position, I'd probably just be like, that was perfect. Yeah, Craig.
These judges are fucking up or something, you know?
This is a joke. There is one other thing, too. When I first did the Olympics in 2014 was the first thing I ever commentated, which is like, that is the most scary thing of all time. It's like, the first thing you're doing is the Olympics. And back then, the Canadian Broadcast Corp was very, like, you weren't allowed to say we. Like, you, as a Canadian, you could never refer to we as Canada. It would always be Canada. You could never refer to somebody as, like, our team. It was the most, like, neutral. You could not be, neutral. Sorry. That's the word I was looking for. So that was, like, my first, like the fear of God was put into me. Like, if you ever say we, you're probably not going to do this job again. Like, if you ever say Canadian, like us. So I think that, like, kind of rubbed off on me too, of, like, being truly unbiased towards any athlete in the field. And then it just, like, makes the job easier, because you're focused. You're not, like, thinking about Mark's run in 3 when you're talking about somebody else. So, yeah.
Now, let's talk broadcasting moments, because I was thinking about this when Todd Richards came on the show. He was talking about calling Shaun White's Olympic run, and he was describing it. It was like the second run. He had to put it down. I don't remember which Olympics, but he had the producer in his ear that was just saying, don't fucking say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. And you can hear Shaun, he hawks a big loogie. It's right before he drops for the Olympics. It's this big moment. And as soon as he drops, boom, you know, Todd jumps into broadcaster mode, calls the run beautifully. Do you have any notable broadcasting moments like that where you feel like you kind of had to show up and put on for your city?
For the reg.
For the reg. There's been so many. I think, like, I've just been so fortunate with Brandon and Rob, and like, being able to do this job for a couple of years, where you've seen, like, truly remarkable feats of athleticism, like the most amount of pressure, like careers being made, and just, like, being a part of it. But to that producers, like, if you have 2 good broadcasters, you shouldn't have to say that. It's like, you just follow, like, it's like an orchestra. Everybody's, like, working together. You're accentuating the piece. I think if I had to pick one, I really thought I can't remember, 2019, I think Saskatchewan Rough Riders were going to the Grey Cup, or had gone to the Grey Cup. And then I was, like, watching a lot of Rough Riders football. And then I think I integrated that in the broadcast of one of Mark's runs. But I don't know. Every event is special. You know, I don't know if you feel the same way with the show. Like, there's, like, some amazing ones and maybe not as exciting ones, but to you, everyone feels like you, like, rev yourself up, and there's so much adrenaline in it. So, yeah.
Last year, you guys, on my last run, basically didn't say anything. It was just like, and then on the second to last jump, this is where he can improve. He does it.
But it's like that's that moment of like if you sat down and you watch this whole event, you've like seen the stories, and we hope we've done a good enough job of telling you the stories and over explaining everything, especially off the top. And then by the third runs, we have given you all the information. We're just watching like the play unfold, you know? So that's very poetic of me to say that, by the way.
Yeah, I like it. I want to change gears for a hot second and talk about Sparky's X Games performance here for a second too, because I'm not gonna lie to you here, Sparky. I hadn't seen you riding a lot of slopestyle. Seemed like you were on backcountry missions.
People were talking.
He's. I don't want to say I counted the kid out. I'm not gonna say that. But I was like, there's some dogs. There's some young dogs. You got Taiga Hasegawa. You got these kids that are just animals. It's a stack field, and you showed up and fucking put on for Regina. I would love to hear your kind of synopsis of the event.
Yeah, I was incredibly proud of how I rode, and I was also in the same boat as you, like, I don't know how this is gonna go. I've been, been riding a 162 wide in Japan for the last 2 weeks, and then I went straight to Trout Lake and kept filming, and I knew I needed a little breather away from it. I had been rehabbing my body, trying to get it strong. And then as soon as winter started, I was like, I need to do the side of snowboarding that's going to make me the most stoked right now. And that was focusing on the backcountry. And then I showed up to X Games with all this energy. You have sled laps, almost 5 days of practice, got about a month's worth of park riding in. And by the time the contest came around, I felt pretty sharp. And I was... But then when they actually tell you it's your run, you have to drop, your legs just feel like jelly.
Arms weak, mom spaghetti situation.
Mom spaghetti moment on my t-shirt already.
And then, all these kids that have been on the airbag all summer, and then also just riding like all the camps all fall, and then going to locks, doing all this. I'm like, oh boy. But I was able to figure it out. What's up, Craig?
But you put you have been that kid. That's where I think you've afforded yourself the ability to do that now, right? Like you've put in those reps, I think.
It's kind of like a homework's done, hand in the paper situation.
Yeah, and then show up and prep like no one's business, and that's what I did. I went to all the practices and I worked on my run, and I figured out a rail line that was going to be good enough, and then put together those jumps. And there's a big part of me that wanted to maybe step it up on the last run, but I wasn't that psyched on how I did my first run. So to just like completely clean it up and earn that 96, and I was so proud of Red. He rode so great, and he definitely deserved the win. And there's a part of me that wishes I would have went for a bit more on the last jump, but I also like stayed in my lane, cleaned up my run, and just rode to the best of my ability on that day. And that
it's
feels
just a
good.
classic stay in your lane situation.
Just stay in your lane scenario. If you've seen it once, you've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Love that. I love that. Now, this is like a little bit more round table conversation topic here. I feel like, Mark, you've been in the golden era of slope style. Maybe not the golden era, but the rotations have just been bumping up. Common topic, right? We're getting into 21s, aka shout out Ian Mattioli.
21.
We call 21 Savage.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah, I don't know if he's down for that nickname, but we're going to keep calling him that.
It's a compliment, in my opinion.
It is, yes. So as far as like big air and slope style, I would love to hear your guys' takes on where we're headed and where do you think it needs to go. That kind of stuff. Kind of vague, but you got a take, Craig?
Hot take. If you are sitting at home and you watch a big air like the X Games and you say, where's the style? What are the big spins? Why are we doing all this stuff? Go on YouTube and watch the 500 snowboard videos that are brilliantly made with incredible music, incredible riding. Why are you not watching that? Once a year, these athletes, I'm going to call them athletes because you have to be strong and you have to ride your snowboard. It's athletic. You can't fault me for that. They do like the hardest tricks that they possibly can on the big air jump, right? This is one part of snowboarding. And there are people that love that part of snowboarding. Why would you try to stop that? There is all this. There's this beautiful rainbow over here. Look at that. Watch that. Celebrate that. Invest in that. Rather than be negative on one thing that happens a year.
Yeah, there's a million different avenues in snowboarding, and that's just one. And you see it on the main stage that one weekend. And yeah, if you want to follow the World Cups that are almost impossible to tune into, you can go that route. But yeah, there's so many different things to snowboarding, and there's so many different avenues, and there's so many different ways to make livings off this sport. So yeah, you can't get pigeonholed, and you shouldn't be negative. Of course it's going to progress. Of course people are going to do more rotations. That's like in everything. And if you want to fight that, then that's a battle you're going to lose every
single time. And let me clear that up. When I say style, like, let's also respect the fact that these are 1620s. There's a couple 1800s that were done at the X Games Big Air that the grab is held almost the entire way around. And it's like a high Indy, and it looks like that is I don't think you can do an 1800 more stylish than that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not just aerials where people are tucking and spinning. Like, there is actually grabs, like Mark, your back 16 on the final jump of slopestyle was perfect, right? Like, so like
Thanks,
three
buddy.
proper flips, high Indy, like there is style there. Like, that is one part of snowboarding, and it's going to continue to go that way. Like, celebrate that, and then celebrate all the other stuff as well.
Great take.
I think that was a hot take.
That's a hot take. I love that. Now
I was scared that was going to be an ice cold take at the end.
that
of
was
it.
a
I don't know if I could land the plane there.
that thing was cooking. Now, question: X Games Big Air, they had the one jump for style points. What's our take on that?
I thought that was cool. They gave it a little percentage of your score, and you could see it did make a difference in some of how the podium shook out. And then just for the viewer, when they tune in to watch it, they get to see something simple on the very first hit and see these riders sort of show their style and show their creativity and what they choose to do for that 10% of their score. And I thought it was really dope.
In the calls before X Games, that was like, okay, here's a format we're thinking about. And I was like, I really love it. But the only thing that I would change of that Big Air format, so if you didn't watch X Games, let's just fill you in. You have to land 3 jumps. Your first jump is scored out of 10 points. And then for the rest of the jam session, you get 5 or 6 more hits after that. You have to spin once to the right, once to the left. Those are both scored out of 45, giving you a total of 100, right? But you can only do the style jump on your first hit. And I thought you should be able to improve upon that just like the other scores throughout the jam session, right?
Yeah, revisit it.
Yeah, for example, Liam Braley fell on his first hit, and I think he got a 3 out of 10. And then like everybody else landed with like 7s, 8s, 9s. There's no way he's going to be able to do 2 tricks that are like 5 points better than the rest of the field on his right and left spins. So essentially you're kind of out of it. That was my only takeaway. The only thing I would change is like be able to do your style trick throughout the jam session. Yeah. I don't know if you agree with that.
No,
but.
I think that's really cool. That ended up being the most pressure was the style trick. And then, yeah, if you did fall and you go into your harder tricks and get them quick, then you could revisit that style and give yourself a better shot at it. But I do respect that they incorporated that into it, and it's definitely nice for the viewer. And without it being an Olympic sanctioned event, they have that power to do that. So for X Games being that big stage, our Super Bowl every year, it's cool that they're trying new things.
Love that. I got another topic here. Oh, Bobby Boudoir raised his hand. He's got a question. Hayden the Tool Wrench.
I kind of just have a question. But like on the topic of like the more spins, we're getting higher and higher. Do you notice them building the jump any bigger?
Great question. Drone Pilot 27.
Great question, Hayden.
Yet
Great
again.
question.
I think it could solve some issues.
Definitely would be nice to see the jump size get a little bit bigger. They brought in one of the best park builders for X Games this year, Charles Beckinsale, big air horn, to help SBT, who are amazing in their own respect. But I thought they built the jumps at X Games quite a bit better than they have in the years past. And no, to answer your questions, the jumps aren't really getting that much bigger, and the spins are. So you can see the people that do the most spins are smaller people and going way bigger and taking way more
Small
impact.
hands. Yeah. Not like cabbage.
But yeah, it would be beneficial to see those jumps getting bigger. But then, yeah, when weather comes and course builds, there's a lot of challenges that come into it, and I think everyone's definitely doing their best. Like the tricks are progressing, so the builders are progressing as well, and yeah.
One question really quick here too. Did you find X Games slopestyle this year? It was the shark fin, and then it was 2 jumps, and X Games famous for having a 4-pack that is so tight. You got to spin all 4 directions, and you have to land everything perfectly. Did you like that, or did you dislike that space in between? Because even me, I rode the slopestyle course, and I was like, I think I got it, honestly. Compared to like the couple of years, you're like, oh God, there's the jump again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always catered to my riding, is having the 4 air features. Last year there was shark fin, jump, or some years it's just 4 straight jumps, and literally there's almost no flat bottom, so you really got to stomp and keep your speed and kind of line up how you're going to spin. So that's really good for me. This year, the jumps were all spread out. It was a shark fin, tons of room, first real straight jump, and then the money booter. And then they had 4 rail pads instead of 3, and they were all transfer rails and so tight. So I had to get handy with the steel again. I would say the most of my practice was dedicated to riding the rails. And I think they always do a good job of making a tight course super technical, and that translates through. But this year they made way more rails and had them way tighter and a little bit more spaced out on the air features, opposed to years in past.
Do you know if anybody was listening to Nate Dogg and Warren G regulators? You got to be handy with the steel.
That's a good question. Heard Mia Brooks was listening to Anthrax. She told us.
Yeah. I went to dinner with her, an Oakley dinner, after she won slopestyle. She's so sick. She's so 17. She had one earphone in all dinner.
Sorry, are you on a call right now, Mia? Sorry, Mia, are you on a call? Do you want some water?
All right, the good times are stacking up with the 24-25 Ikon Pass on sale starting March 14th. Drop in on 50-plus destinations, spring's lowest prices, plus limited time savings on child passes and renewal discounts. Pro tip: buy now, ride now with immediate access up to 9 mountains and a total of up to 16 by early April. From $259 adult, claim your pass to the good times today. Jones, you ever find yourself tired, low on energy?
Yes, Chris, I do.
Well, let me tell you something. 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. And that goes up when you're in the mountains and you're at elevation. You're going to be even more dehydrated. So you know what the solution is, Jones?
Don't go to Colorado?
That's one. You could also drink Bubs Naturals Hydrate or Die. There's 2,000 milligrams of electrolytes. There's no added sugar, and there's no artificial flavors.
I love that.
Now, when I'm hydrated, I have more energy. I ride better. I can probably still grab my board. When I'm dehydrated, I can't.
No, my skin literally will crack if I try to grab my board unhydrated.
You look like a lizard that's been dead for 30 years.
And not the Lizard King.
Not the Lizard King. That also got run over by a car. It's roadkill.
Yeah, salamander.
Exactly. So if you want to get some Bubs Naturals Hydrate or Die, use promo code BOMBHOLE for 20% off at checkout, and stay hydrated with Hydrate or Die. Jones?
I will. Thanks, Chris.
Okay, I got a hot topic here, boys. Let's keep these hot topics rolling.
Get on more rants.
So I got in my DMs. I've openly said it. We might have even discussed this. I've always been pro steroids. Okay, I've always had a strong pro steroid take.
Well documented.
I've also experimented with HGH as well when I hurt my shoulder, and so it healed really quick. Point being is that I'm pro steroids. Now there's been something circling on the internet, and it's some billionaire is creating the Olympics with steroids. Have you guys seen this at all?
Have you guys seen this? Have you heard about this?
I get probably 40 DMs a day, not exaggerating, of people tagging me in this. So
Really?
maybe it's so. Apparently, from what I understand, there's a billionaire investor, and he's creating the Olympics for steroids, basically for steroid use, no drug testing. What do you think we should do? Should we get snowboarding involved? Couple questions. Do you think we'd benefit? Who do you think would benefit? Should we put a max bench in the middle of the slopestyle course? You do, back-to-back 12s, hop off, max bench, see what you can clear, get back on your board. I'm just spitballing here. Where are we at with this, guy?
That's your style score.
Yeah, that's
Your max bench is 10%. Going to style. Takes his jacket off. Just back protector. I haven't heard of it. I don't know much, Craig.
Well, I mean, let's break this down scientific. Who's the most jacked snowboarder you know?
Andreas Wig.
Craig.
And he's an X Games gold medalist, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
So
Darcy Sharp.
Dars.
Like currently easily the most jacked.
yeah, he is negative 0.5% body fat. Like they owe him some. Yeah, it's crazy.
So
I owe you.
In the Roids games, yeah, so who are our contenders? We got Andreas, we got Darcy, pretty much anybody Norwegian, really.
Somehow Brandon Beeble's in there, too.
Yeah, Brandon Beeble, yep, okay. Sparky's actually a bit of a brick shithouse these days, honestly.
Buddy, I definitely
Body's a
trying
temple.
to be in the gym, trying to take care. I put this thing through the ringer, so it's
What
more
do
of a
you benching
maintenance
these days?
thing. Not as much as you.
Okay, all right, well, that clears that up.
I also bring this up too. I look at men's super pipe, and you got Scotty James, who's 6'2". I'm not going to try and guess his weight, but he's a big fella, right? And then you got Ayumu Hirano, who is probably the exact opposite build of a human being. So I think muscles don't help snowboarding. I don't know. Is that an ice cold take again?
I mean,
I'm
I
two
don't
for two
I don't
now?
agree, but
I don't agree either. They definitely help. When
yeah.
I'm my strongest, I'm riding my best. And you know what? Ayumu
to a
told
point,
me
Mark.
this
But
once.
if you're the guy, the meme of the dudes like that are so jacked, like typing it out.
No, not jacked like that.
That's what steroids get you.
Okay.
It's a dangerous.
What's-
do you
what's
think?
this-
Steroids can also like speed up healing. You don't need to take them and then do a bunch of weights and get all strong. But anyways, yeah, I'm not really back in the steroids thing. But the Ayumu
Okay, good.
thing,
You cleared that up because I was like, you heard it
That's
here
what's going
first
on
on the
a
bomb
slippery
hole.
slope.
Mark is pro steroids. Mark is pro steroids. You've heard it here first on the bomb hole.
I'm anti.
Soaky D, clip this. Mark is pro steroids.
It's on the gram already.
That'll be a great clickbait YouTube.
The next group discussion. Yeah, so
Okay, Sparky, continue.
Okay, yeah. So I always found this fascinating. Ayumu and I would always hang out when we'd hang out when we can, but definitely when we were in Switzerland in the fall, we'd get together quite a bit. And he dedicates 30 minutes every single evening to core. He just does abs.
Really?
Every evening, 30 minutes.
What are we talking, planks?
Anything. Dude, that kid is so freaking strong and can just dude, if you can do a triple cork in the half pipe, it's just, anyways, that kid is such a G. He says very little, but is so zened out, confident, works his ass off, amazing skateboarder. I'm a huge Ayumu fan, and I'm also a massive Scotty James fan. He used to do slopestyle, half pipe, and then wasn't really in the running for either, and now is just dominating half pipe. I those two guys going back and forth. I really look forward to the half pipe contest and watching them. They're two totally different riding styles, but both so talented.
I like it. That's great. It's good to know. I got to start doing 30 minutes of core every night.
could you pick one if you had to pick a ride or die? It's a half pipe event tomorrow. No, you couldn't pick.
Wow, that's a media training. That's good media training.
That's
right
a no
there.
for me, Doc.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, another wormhole I have here. You're incredible snowboarder broadcaster. Let's just say there was a broadcaster division at X Games slopestyle. We got Todd Richards, we got Salema, we got Brando, Craig Mick. I'd throw Stan in there. T-Bird calls natural selection, Mary Walsh, Bridges.
You're in there now,
Hannah
too?
Beeman. I'll put my name in the hat. Who's duking it out right now? Who's
And
duking it
Jesse
out?
Bertner's in there now,
Oh
too.
yeah, Bertner's in there. Yep.
I'd say it'd be the equivalent to Red and I. It'd be Chris and Craig
Really? Todd's not in there. Todd's not in the hunt.
on the slopestyle.
I mean,
At his age, no. I think you guys.
Is there shots?
Hello, Bob.
hold on. Whoops, wrong soundbite. Let me find that one. Directed at Todd right there.
And I think, and I'm gonna back
you
you
guys
up
are
because
spending more time on snow than Todd. Todd's at Beacons.
yeah,
That's true.
paddling in.
Well,
Paddling
that's
in
cross
the
training.
two-foot-
He also hasn't touched a steel since.
I rode Woodward with him the other day. He hit the 3-pack of medium, not large, medium jumps, and he was going front 3. I saw him serve up a back 5. I mean, those fundamentals are in there.
Oh, they
still.
don't go away. He's an incredible snowboarder, and he would probably destroy you guys in the half pipe. But if we're talking slopestyle broadcasters, Chris and Craig are going 1-2.
Wow.
I don't know the order.
We should that would be a great event.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. Yeah, throw that in the hat next time you're in one of those X Games meetings.
Presented by Run Through a Wall.
Presented by Run Through Wall, and we're all mic'd up. And, we have to narrate our own runs.
Yeah, you got to
Only wear a Bauer helmet.
and
you
the
can only wear-
narration is part of it as well.
You have to wear your hockey gloves and Bauer helmets.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Can't grab.
Yeah, hopefully the no grabs are scoring high these days because that thing my board seems to be getting further away every time I try to grab.
Well, that's the thing. You got to work on your mobility, not so much.
No, we want.
I heard it's core. Somebody told me earlier it's all core.
I heard core is
just
poor.
all core.
I heard core is poor though.
Well, I've heard that too.
All right, we happen to have a guest question from in studio, Hayden the Tool Wrench. Fired up, Bobby.
Yo, this question is for Mark and Craig. So growing up around hockey and seeing how, like, as a kid, like, the pressures of performing and the atmosphere and, like, everything that encompassed, like, being a hockey player in that era and age, do you see any similarities now that you're seeing the contest kind of circuit, Olympics, X Games, all that type of stuff? Do you see similarities from that kind of genre of hockey, like, seeping into the snowboard world with, like, young kids coming up, feeling those same pressures and, like that sort of, any similarities there? And, like, I know both of you, we had talked outside of this of, like, oh yeah, I loved hockey as a kid, but then once you start to get into those pressures of, like, performance or people telling you what to do and, like, the restraints that, like, team sports kind of have on you, do you feel that now maybe kids in their training regimen have that with snowboarding?
That's a great question.
It's a great question.
That's a great question,
Yeah.
Bobby Boudoir. Nice work.
Attaboy Girl Pilot 27 on Instagram.
Yep.
Essentially, is the snowboard dad becoming the hockey dad?
Yeah, thank you. Fuck.
Yeah, we grew up around a
great
lot
summary.
of hockey dads. And in the U.S., I think you got soccer moms, soccer dads. Canada, we got hockey dads and hockey parents for that matter. And yes, I feel like that is happening in snowboarding in a lot of ways because parents are realizing you can make a living off of it and it is an Olympic sport and they do see it on TV. So there are programs to get your kids into high intensity coaching at an early age. And I've seen it firsthand, kids burn out of snowboarding, which is crazy to think about because growing up, it was like, hey, you can burn out of hockey, but like this sport is just for fun and blah, 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 blah. So to answer your question, yeah, that is happening a bit, but it's still not at the level that hockey is.
And it's usually out of a place of love, right? Like, I don't have kids, but you just want your kid to do good, and you equate doing good with winning and being successful and being the best snowboarder that they can be. And I think if we could turn this a little bit as like, maybe you have kids and you're like, I want them to be good at snowboarding. I want them to win contests. I want them to have fun.
Because they love snowboarding.
Because you love snowboarding and you want your child or, to love snowboarding as well. And I think the best thing you can do is, I don't know if everybody agrees in this room, but like, when I get better at snowboarding, 99.9% of the time I'm having the most fun. Every time I'm learning a trick, like what we were doing on practice jump the other day, like Jed was like, I haven't done this since I was 10 years old. Just like hiking up, trying a random ass trick, probably falling on your back a couple times, everybody laughing, and then going up and trying it a couple times and like learning a new trick. So I think to any parent that has a kid in snowboarding right now, fun is always priority. Fun is always priority till they're like they can drive themselves and live by themselves. And it still has to be a priority after that.
Totally. Putting them around people that are like-minded. If your kid loves to snowboard, try and get them with a kid around their age that loves to snowboard because that's where real progression happens. And Craig and I were so lucky because we came from such a challenged place to make it as a snowboarder. Without each other, there's no way we would have progressed at the rate we did. So having the homies, that's the ultimate tool to getting better. Someone that's willing to push themselves with you.
And shout out Russell Davies and all our snowboard coaches and our parents as well, because they were kind of like this too. I'm going to use Russell Davies as the example. He'd drive 8 hours, right? And you'd think as a snowboard coach, you'd be like, okay, let's get the kids on the jump and do all this kind of stuff. He'd be in bed at 9:30 a.m. Mark would be jumping on his bed being like, okay, let's go ride the park. Let's go ride the park. It's open. We'd get there and he'd be like, okay, we're not going to hit the park till after lunch. There's actually a little bit of snow. We're going to try and straight line this run. Like who can straight line this run? Like it was like that fun, like camaraderie team building, almost keep them away from the park till they scratch and claw to get there. Because you're not going to force a kid to do anything. They got to actually want to do it, right?
And thank God for Russ because he taught us the fundamentals of snowboarding. We could hit a rail in our backyard as many times as we wanted. So why go to the mountains and go to the mailbox, you know? So he would make us learn to ride the mountain as a whole and get good fundamentals and be a strong snowboarder. And quite honestly, that has helped me a ton.
All fundies.
Good fundies, and I think that that's a good topic, just fundies as well, because the the airbag has the danger of promoting progression really fast, right? So you think about, oh, well, I already did a 360 in the airbag. I did 540, I did 7, I did 1080, I did a double backflip. But like when you're riding snow, you're like, I'm going to do 100 360s. I'm not moving up until this thing, I know it's coming around. And so I think that like you're a product of learning to snow, where airbags might, be a little bit hindering in people's actual fundamentals.
Yeah, it allows itself to skipping steps, and you see it all the time. There's people that can do the wildest tricks, but then when they go do a back 5 or switch back 5, you're like, "Ooh, you have not done that very much, but you've done that triple 16 a zillion times," So it is a tough thing in snowboarding, but back to the progression thing, it's gonna happen. It's the way of the world, and you can't fight it. But you got to applaud the snowboarders that use it as a tool, but also are just such strong boarders.
Snowboarding will always expose those weaknesses, right? You can go for a certain amount of time and you can do a certain amount of contests, and then eventually it will expose you, You don't have that good backside 540, and I want to do POW now. I want to do this kind of thing. It's very hard to regress and learn those steps again. So if you skip steps, it will expose you.
Respect. Love that. Okay. All right, Craig. Let's talk snowboarding here. Let's talk Craig's snowboarding. This is Craig's podcast.
Where am I?
And the one thing I think about with Craig is you could be fooled. You see Craig at the X Games, you see him announcing the Olympics, you might think this guy's a broadcaster, but he's a fucking snowboarder first. He's in the streets. He is putting up front boards and switch front boards through kinks. He's battling in the cities, getting A grades. But I think sometimes people might put you in a box as a broadcaster. Do you ever feel like that drives you to kind of be like, no, I'm a snowboarder? Like,
oh, that's a great question, actually. I don't know if it does drive me a little bit, but it's more of like, I'm a snowboarder first. Like, my entire career, I always wanted to film video parts. Like, and Mark can attest to this, I was not a great competitor. Like, I could do the tricks when I was that age, and like, I was up there, 4th at the World Championships, I think. But I just it was never about that. And I remember the reason I got into broadcasting was in 2014. I was like maybe 5th or 6th for making the team. They took 4. So I was like trying to like maybe compete to maybe get that last spot. And then I kind of had like an epiphany of like, I don't love, like if I did get that spot, would I be stoked? I'd be like, no, I'd probably be really scared. That's probably not a healthy way of doing it, right? So it was like a kick in the pants of, I want to film. And when I made that decision, I called Russell Reimer, my Canadian agent, and he's like, who's broadcasting it? And he's like, we don't have anybody. So I kind of threw my name in the hat for that. I got that one. And then Torstein Horgmo, shout out Torstein Horgmo, one of the greatest of all time, invited me to be in Shredbots. So it was totally done with contests. I'm calling the Olympics. As soon as I get home, I've got my first sled I ever bought, and I'm going out with Andreas Wig in the Shredbots. Like, we're filming for the first Shredbots movie, and I'm like, whoa. I made a decision where I like left all this contest stuff behind, and it's just opened up the doors that I actually wanted to be open, right? Which was terrifying, but I'm very happy, and that's why I'm here today. But to answer your question, it's like snowboarding is everything to me. The thing that I'm most passionate about, the reason I have stickers on my board, the reason I go snowboard every single day is because I want to film the best video part. I want to put out the best content, because growing up, we would burn tapes. I mean, all the Change That Tape edits, like you, Bodie, Scott, MacDog Productions, Standard. The reason I can answer all those questions is because I went straight like Rain Man on those videos,
No one refreshed transworldsnowboarding.com and snowboardermag.com more than Craig and I. We lived for it.
It was an unhealthy obsession, but yeah.
I love that. Well, let's get into some Craig career highlights. I've been itching to ask you. So I was going through the Rolodex of video parts, and one of the standouts that I forgot about was your Man Boys segment, which was very, very good. And I think it's all on one jump. I wanted to pick your brain. You go front 10 double backflip back 180, and then the double Todio 1080. Can you walk us through that session?
I'm going to walk you through the whole damn year, if that's okay.
Let's
really
do it.
quick.
Walk us through the whole year.
We filmed great. We're filming with Anto Chamberlain and Mark Solers, and I think we were with Frank April. So we filmed all the rails, and it's all going good. And then it's just like not a super good year in the backcountry for me. I just like, you ever go through those spells where you're just like, stop, like I'm trying some really hard stuff. It's not clicking. This is mid-March. I don't have a powder shot. And like I pride myself on having 50-50. Like that to me, that is one of the most important things for a snowboarder to be represented on both sides. That's for my riding, obviously. And we go to Revelstoke, kind of a last-ditch effort. We have a massive crew, 2 filmers, and we go up to this zone and it's cloudy, and we're like, I don't know what to do. Me and Mark Solar start building this like wall. It's an absolute wall, and it's going to take us a day and a half. We do that. We're not even done when the sun cracks on the following day. Everybody is around the valley, and you can hear everybody getting shots, so there's even more pressure. Like everybody's landing. I think Chris Rasman does that double backside rodeo 1080. Rusty Ocken does a great double back 10. Belzil front 7. Jody does an incredible cab 3. So everybody is getting clips, and me and Mark are still trying to finish our jump. Then finally, they're all done. It's after lunch, and we're like, okay, let's hit this thing. And we don't even know if the jump's going to work. Solars goes, first try, one of the most all-time frontside 360s anybody has ever filmed. I think he does, I would make an argument, one of the greatest of all time for front threes. And then the session's on. I think I get the front 10 double. That was like the trick I wanted to do. I think I get it second try or third try. And then I've always had a dream of doing that double Todio. And this is before, like, I don't think really, maybe Travis Rice did one, but I don't remember.
Think it had been done at that point.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe. I thought it was the first time ever seeing it. But yeah,
okay, yeah. So I didn't know, but I was like, I know I can do a frontside rodeo 5. So like, why not just hold on to one? And the hard thing about that trick, and what scares me about doing it on park jump, is you land so back seat. But in POW, that's kind of like a blessing, especially on steep of a landing. So I get that one, I think like third or fourth try, and then the jump is kind of done. And I'm like, I'm just going to go up and do a double wildcat. So I'm going to expose the double wildcat back one. That was like my last hit on it. But it was such a steep jump, and we'd hit it a bunch. So I was like going in, and I kind of got off my line, and I started like rotate as I was doing the double wildcat. And I'm not going to bring it back. So I just kind of lean, and I'm riding away switch, a trick that I didn't intend to do at all. And I'm just riding away, and you kind of see in the video, I like put my hand over my mouth. I'm like, what the hell just happened? And everybody's freaking out. Like I didn't mean to do that, but
favorite shot in the part for me. Yeah. That was so sick. You just twist your hips at the end, and then all of a sudden you're just riding out switch. I was like,
little switch stance. Yeah, it was that was a absolute fluke. So
you put the beat down on that jump.
Also in that part, you went to the form step down, let the hoof bark on that thing.
Thank you. That was inspired by you guys to change the tape. It was actually really hard because I was hitting with Jody Wozniak and Matt Belzil, and they both had like pretty big ambitions of doing big tricks. So they kind of put a lip on it. And as you know, when you're doing a 1 foot, you do not want a poppy jump. You want to just be able to like soar off of it. So I tried it a couple times and got absolutely worked. And then I kind of built my own takeoff off to the side. That's why I go a little bit smaller, which I don't really like, but I had a flatter takeoff so I could actually land it. And I'm hyped on that shot, but I know I could have done a little bit better. That's the one that got away a little bit. So thank you. Yeah,
it's good to have because you got double backy on form step down as well, and a one hoofer. It's good to have a flag in the ground on form step down.
Yeah,
you know?
It's those like features when you're like, this is so famous, and I've seen this so many times, and it's such a trippy thing to stand on top of, and been like, JP Walker stood on top of this thing and did a back 10 tail. You know, like. Solars did the sickest front 9 on it, like Kazu Kokubu, that back one Japan that he does on it. It's just like so much history, and like you feel so much nostalgia. And to me, it's really important. Don't do a trick that's been like, if you can figure out a trick that nobody's done on it and actually do it and put it in your part, those ones are really, really special to me. So I don't know, what's your feeling on that? Like, there's so many of those iconic spots that like you really want to hit, but it's kind of like,
yeah, if you're gonna go, I think it's you got to do an NBD, right?
Yeah, I think hitting features that are very legendary in our sport, I find it cool. If you can find a trick that hasn't been done and make it your own, then going back to the well is kind of cool, because it's like, oh shit, that's forearm step down, and a new rider that I'm into is hitting it, and there's a new trick that hasn't been done on it. You know, I think that's really cool. The Lucas step down, seeing that. We went to that, or I loved that Red and Ben went and hit the
perfect jump.
Mother.
Yeah.
You and I teed that up in 2015. Oh, that was crazy. Craig got
cab
KO'd.
double undie.
That was the first first, like when I talked about doing the Olympics in 2014, I like flew back. I've been in Russia for a month and a half. And then the first day of sledding was with Andreas Weg, and he's like, we're going to Stepmother. And I was like, I can't think of a scarier situation to put like, I'm new here, you know, like let's go to Stepmother with Andreas and try and do something. He did a switchback 7 on it first try, and then he tried to do a back 10 double. And I just, honestly, I felt bad for the landing because that is a huge human just beating that thing up. He didn't ride away from it, but I got lucky. He did a cab double underflip. And then Mark's referring to the time in motion.
2015.
Yeah, 2015. That was a silly one. I just overshot it by like 100 feet and got super conkied. Like there's so much where you're like, I remember getting in the heli and getting out of it and just not knowing where I was. But like,
you had to get airlifted out?
No, because we were lapping it with a helicopter.
Oh, okay,
it was like
it.
one of those
Yep.
bad snow years. And
Yeah, Kevin Sansalone was guiding us. He kind of called it for Craig on the session, and then I was just hit it a few times, and luckily got a back 10 stale on it. Was that Stepmother or Mother?
a Stepmother.
Okay, yeah. So huge jump, good times. I think to circle back, hitting a feature that's already been hit, especially if it's legendary, I think it's cool to pay homage to it, but just make sure you're doing something new.
Because in snowboarding, there's very few ways that you can actually compare yourself to, especially when you're filming a video part, there's very few ways that you can compare yourself to somebody. And that's like kind of the only one of like, okay, that pro that I've looked up to forever has hit this. Like, I kind of want to step to this. It's a weird feeling for
Absolutely. And I think to kind of take a page out of skateboarding's book, like Hollywood High 16, for example, might be equivalent to Forum Step Down, where it's like, and people are still getting covers. I think Felipe just kickflip front blunted it. He's on the cover of Thrasher. That's Hollywood 16. We've seen it for decades, you know, and it's, I think that's a good, you could argue things fill in differently, yada, yada, yada. It's kind of a cop out to do a safety trick. I've done it before. I know somebody's done this trick, but I know I can land this one.
I don't think they'll remember.
sure. Everyone, people don't forget.
What do you think about same spin, different grab?
Oh, that's a good question, Hayden. Another good question.
A little shorter this time.
Landed the plane right out the gate.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to let you go in a second, Mark. I think that's okay because it's a different trick, right? Like, let's say you see a front 9, melon, and then somebody does a front 9 tail. To me, that's a different trick. And it might be a take that people don't like, but that's the take I have.
I'm okay with that, Craig. I'm not going to elaborate on it. I think, yeah, as long as it's different and new and no one's done it, go for it.
Okay, going back to Man Boys, one clip in there. This might be one of your greatest clips you've ever filmed in your video part. 1 foot Miller. That thing was size large. Walk us through that one.
That's actually a dog park right behind Anto Chamberlain's house. And it's in the same park as, do you remember in Deja Vu when Jake Kuzik does there's 2 fences and he kind of airs up, does a nose press on this little sign. Will Levine also airs up and does this lip slide on a super tall thing with vines coming down. So there's a ton of different spots. And I always had that Miller flip 1 foot idea. And that was kind of the one that just worked out. Andy Wright was there. Shout out Andy Wright. I think he got the photo within 3 tries, and I don't think I saw him till we went home, actually, which was amazing.
Was that a battle?
It was a battle in terms of I did a couple, but there, especially when you have a shot in your head, I had Matt Gibeau, shout out Matt Gibeau, who was filming it. He was sitting on top. He was sitting on top of it with the fisheye, and I just I was okay, you got to open up your body early, and your leg has to be fully extended, while you're flying by the fisheye, which was sick. But the drop after it was so far, so. On a Miller flip, you want to time it out right at the middle of your air. You're upside down, so it's like a flip, right? And I was kind of doing a little bit early, so I got a couple, and then there was one where I was I'm just gonna go till I actually get the one, and I think that one was the one. I was pretty happy with that one. So
I love it. Well, we got a question, guest question from none other than Mark Solers. So let's cue that up. Here we go.
Solers, and hello, Craig. This is Mark,
Hi,
your
Mark.
tennis partner, but also bottle match opponent. He had a question for you. You hit some insane spots. Some of them are marathon spots, and I'm wondering if you can talk about the mental barriers and how you push through them when you're riding spots like that, how you push through to get those clips. I can't wait to hear the answer and can't wait to hear the episode. Hope you all are having a great day. Bye.
Nicest guy in the league.
nicest guy in the league, Soul Train. Damn. That is facts. That is actually facts. Great question, Mark. Thank you for asking.
Nice head of lettuce, too. He's got a nice head of lettuce.
Oh, buddy.
Good flow.
Imagine if he tossed a Bucky on.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Yeah. The wings coming out the back. He actually gets his hair cut by the same person every single time. He's loyal to it, loyal to the scissors.
Well, I applaud them. They're doing a great job. Continue.
He looks fantastic. Also, I'm going to reference, we play a lot of tennis in the summer and we play bottle matches. So we kind of warm up a couple matches and then it's like a bottle match and the loser has to buy the winner a bottle. So we've traded some tequila bottles back and forth. But to answer your question, Mark, I don't like hitting marathon spots. Like I try to be selective, like only having 2 or 3 a year, because if you're in a crew of people and somebody's like, hey, I'm going to hit this like 16 down rail, everybody's like, oh, God, okay. And I'm sure you've been on crews where you're like, all right, well, see you in 2 days.
Go Sexton.
No, Sexton. But I love, because you get a great shot. If you get to the end, it is usually an amazing shot. It's a war of attrition. You got to be really calm, I find. When I was younger, I'd like freak out and you just start spending so much energy of like getting mad or like overthinking it. And I equate it to a little bit like watching people film skateboarding is like, this is going to take a long time. Like settle in. Make sure everybody's got their coffee, their waters. Make this as easy as possible. Make it like not a pull shovel. Like add a couple feet to the drop in. Like make this as easy and as comfortable as for everybody to be there. And then you don't feel rushed ever. Because the second you start feeling rushed, then you start doing the wrong thing or you accept maybe coming off early or something like that. So don't be rushed and then just stay calm. Because it's not the end of the world if you don't get it. Like we're not curing cancer here, guys. Like we're riding a snowboard down a handrail, you know? So I always have that, like, whenever I start getting really panicked or mad, just be like, you look like a goofball right now, you know? So stay calm.
Love that.
Nobody panic.
I got a take in that department. I'd like to add to that. I've said this on air, I believe. I'm not sure. Who knows? We talk a lot in here. I would equate it to finding a partner, okay? It's a long rail battle. Same thing. Same thing. Let me tee this up for you. Let me tee this up for you. Let me set the scene.
Okay.
So you're trying to get this go to the end of this rail. You're trying to get this shot, right? If you're too desperate, doesn't want to give it to you.
Tough look.
If you're too desperate, if you're too hungry, too horny, so to speak, it's not happening. Okay. The rail and the partner, be it male or female, they're going to smell the desperation, okay? So it's a lot like court. And then when you come into it where you're like, I don't even care if I go to the end. I mean, I could go to the end if I want. Doesn't matter. That rail's going to want you to go to the end. It's the same with a partner. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I could go on another date, whatever. They're like, why is this guy not calling me? Like, this is insane. I really want to go on another date with this guy. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
Great relationship advice.
Yeah.
Let's take this back to Canada with
Whether it be love or jibbing, don't seem too desperate. That's what I took away from today.
Those are facts. Those are facts.
Rail riding.
I also had an observation. No gloves in the streets.
Ever? No. I wear gloves a lot of the time, but to silence some of the rumors, your boy runs hot. All right.
Sweaty palms.
I'm a diesel, okay, and you got to warm it up, and I get warm, and then your gloves get soggy or your toque gets all like wet and like over.
For the Americans,
eyes.
Can you explain what a toque is?
A beanie.
Okay,
a toque is it's a hat. It's a wool hat. There, Mark's got one right there. But I just get way too hot and it gets way too wet and it's really annoying. So I'm usually just running hot. Engine light is almost on. So I just take them off. It's not a style choice or anything like that. It's literally just it's a function over fashion situation.
Okay, we got to get to the bottom of another hard-hitting subject, high backs. Now, I've noticed they've been behind the pants. They've been, I think, in front of the pants. It seems like early Craig, in my research, was behind the pants. And let's just walk us through it.
Okay, so fashion's a circle. And that's because of you guys, honestly. Bodie and you would always have him over the pants for a long time. Torstein had him over the pants. Andreas Wig had him over the pants. Pants over the high backs, pardon me. And then I kind of got obsessed with having the cuffed pant. Like I love the cuff, like the jogger cuff where it like sucks to there. And then you know who really sold me on it was Charles Reed was the first one that I remember doing like real, like making sure everything was in the binding and you could really see the high back. And I thought that was really sick. So I kind of went that direction. But I think we're all guilty of it. Hayden?
I have no take on this. I'm not a style influence at all. But I was curious, in hockey, do you go socks behind?
Great question.
Great question.
Great question.
In front. And tongues, too. Tongues out or in.
Yeah,
Tongues
hockey style.
out, tongues out always, and high back out always. Pant in the high back.
You go tongues out, Tyler Bertuzzi.
Oh, buddy.
So I am snowboarding now. I like the jogger cuff. I like to see the high back. I think that is very important. And then in hockey, I have the heel or the high back of your skate. That should be shown, but I don't like the tongue out.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because, and this is all necessity. I'm a team player. I block shots. Never.
He's getting in front of the puck.
Yeah. And
sacrifice the puck.
Craig's running to the boards when someone's winding up.
When Aaron Leyland is tickling the rafters with his stick, just everybody's diving away.
Craig, he's got that Oakley Prism visor to block his eyes as well, so he's good to go.
This thing is not getting a puck to the dome. What about you? You used to be over.
Be honest, I don't play a lot of hockey. I play pond hockey once a year, a couple sticking pucks, but I like to equate myself more like an Alexander Ovechkin kind of Steve. I like, stuff hanging off of me, sty points. I'm going to tuck the jersey.
Sometimes there's, for some reason, a credential that you have flying around.
Maybe a bandana, but definitely pants tucked in, or jersey tucked into the hockey pants.
That's a good one.
Because that's you can go either way with that, but I like the OVST on that.
Yeah, but your snowboard pants were over your high backs for a number of years.
I think very, very early it was like that. And then pretty much like 21 on, I was like pants.
21.
After 21 Savage came out with his first album, that was a huge influence on me. So, yeah, I don't know where we're at. Well, one thing, since we're all over the place right now, this is a disaster as far as chronological order, structure. That's all out the window. All right, let's talk about Blackstrap. Now, I've been testing some of their products lately. They sent some stuff to the bomb hole. And let me tell you, they make some high-performance base layers, beanies, balaclavas, and more. Recently tried out the Blackstrap Summit base layers on a full day hiking around the backcountry. We were getting sweaty, it was cold, and I was really impressed. They're breathable, they're stretchy, they're quick drying. Good base layers are key for staying warm and comfortable in the mountains. And they are worth investing in. I wear base layers every time I go ride, so great base layers are absolutely crucial, and Blackstrap makes some really high-quality ones. So check them out. Also, I was impressed with their balaclavas. As you know, I wear a helmet these days, new to that game, and I love the fit under the helmet. So if you're looking for a great under-the-helmet balaclava, be sure to check out bsbrand.com, and you can use promo code BOMBHOLE for 20% off your order. Again, that's bsbrand.com, promo code BOMBHOLE, 20% off your order. They also recently came on board to support Bombhole Cup, as well as our Woodward Dust Bomb Ride Day. So support brands that support snowboarding and check out bsbrand.com and use promo code BOMBHOLE for 20% off your order and get yourself looking fresh out there on the hill. We actually interrupted you in the middle of your Salt Lake. We haven't actually wrapped up. I think we left at maybe Hayden's diarrhea, no fluids left in his body, whether it's
I think that's right.
Front, back, rear, mouth, everything gone.
Funny to say about just puking in general, okay, so there's been some people at work like talking about the flu, and like there's been girls talking about the flu, and they're like, oh, I was just puking forever, and it's like, I know you were just shitting like crazy too.
Yeah.
Like, and we as a society just say puking now, and I think that we should just be okay to be like,
okay,
I was shitting like crazy as
okay,
well.
Yeah.
I just want to clear
hot
that
take on the societal norms. All right.
For me, on this side of the fence, I think just I was sick kind of suffices for I don't like that's an over-explained to me.
I think you can say sick, but I think it's a lie to say puking.
So he's saying let's normalize shitting. Is that your take? Just to be clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
When having food poisoning.
Yeah.
When having food poisoning.
Because we all know. We all know. It's like one of those swept under the rug.
It's the elephant in the room.
Now that we got that
situation,
covered,
Yep. Okay.
let's
continue.
finish the rest of the Salt Lake story.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry about my buddy. He can ask questions. He can participate. It's fine. So we get the text from Hayden. He's down. Kid's down bad, right?
He's hit.
He's not coming in.
He's hit.
And we're filming this entire thing on an iPhone, right? So and Hayden's amazing at editing, and he had a vision for this YouTube. You can go watch it now on YouTube, right? So as soon as this podcast is done, go take a look at that. But it's all filmed entirely on iPhone. So I go in there and I'm like, okay, Hayden's not coming up, but me and Chris, Bodie are going to hit some step downs. I think that was the plan. And Hayden shows me, okay, like ProRes log, like do all this stuff with your phone. And I'm like, okay, I can film. We're going to do it. We get up there. Banter's electric at the start of that was like, I think we quoted, you know, that we're in the same kind of humor bracket of just quoting movies. And I don't think Shane Charlebois said a word for about 10 minutes because he couldn't get into the Step Brothers references, which if you're ever been around that group of people is really annoying. So we did that, went to the step down. Bodie was going to hit one to our right. Chris and I were going to hit kind of like a baby back one, honestly.
Junior bacon cheese.
Yeah.
Dollar menu, step down.
It's early.
It was value.
This is homie's little training wheel step down, and I got very confident. I was like, this is a quarter of the size of what, you know, we're kind of used to hitting in Whistler. And you went first, cab 1, then I went switchback 1, and then you went front 3, and then I was going to go switchback 3, and I kind of got all janky on the takeoff, and I was like, oh, it's fine. And then boom, you could just feel like my knee flex, and I'm like, oh, I think I just blew my knee. And then I kind of look back up, and sure enough, it's all rocks. Yeah, it's Rocky Road, Ben and Jerry's up there. And I was like, you know, when you kind of get hurt, you're like, I don't know if I'm hurt or if it's just like shock a little bit. And I kind of walked it off, and you went up and did a front 3, and then I could kind of feel my knee starting to like really, really hurt. And I was like, okay, I should probably get out of here. And what was also funny and really depressing is Mark and Ikon and Zach Hale and Spencer had a jump just above us. So I like filmed a couple takes of that, and then I like made my way down, and my knee definitely hurt a lot. And I was kind of like, you know, when you're like, I got to be tough right now. Like, don't say anything. And I was like, it really hurts. But I got out of there. And then the next day, this is what I love about America. I called an MRI place at 8 o'clock. I got an MRI at 10 a.m. So 2 hours later, they're just like, yeah, sure, come on down. And you have to pay, obviously. It was very reasonable. Send it over to the wonderful Dr. Hackett at the Stedman Clinic in Vail.
Big shouts.
Big shouts. And he got back to me a couple hours later after seeing the imaging and was like, oh, your knee's fine. You do have a bone bruise inside your knee. And that's what scared me the most is I've blown my right knee, and I had a bone bruise at the same time. So I'm like, damn, this feels really similar to when I blew my knee. But ACL's all good in the left one. Shout out Jeremy Watkins for working me out all summer. And the legs were pretty strong. They could take it, but I might be out for a week or two, unfortunately. But you got a great front 3. Mark, you got a front 7 on the jump above us. It was a successful day.
Yeah, we were having a good time. It's so fun. Brighton is like a little playground. There's features everywhere, and it's not like you're out there to get an A-grade shot, but you're kind of just like warming up to it. And truly, the camaraderie was what I was there for. It was the scene in Salt Lake is incredible.
Yeah, you guys have built like there's so many amazing people in snowboarding here. So the fact that I don't think we've spent that, I'm referring to Mark and myself here for our audio only listeners, that much time is that much time here is crazy because it's actually amazing. It's so fun. And then I will say this, I'm going to take this moment, and I don't want to get too sentimental because we're having fun, but what you've created here, Chris, is like community and a culture. And the only way you can make community and culture is if you have recurring stories and you document those stories and you share them with the world. So I think what you have done here and what everybody's doing in Salt Lake City is really, really, really special. And speaking for the entire snowboard community that's not situated here, we thank you. It is absolutely amazing.
Thank you, Craig.
You want yourself an air horn, please.
Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. Wow, that was very kind. Thank you.
And I truly mean that because, like, you know, I listen to the show all the time, and shout out to Airtime as well. Like, they do such a good job of like curating these stories and sharing them. So when you're a young kid and you're listening to this, like, there's no excuse to not be educated on the history of snowboarding. You know.
Appreciate that, Bobby Boo.
I kind of have a little perspective on that since I have been out of Salt Lake and coming quite often. I like lived here for a year when I was younger, and like seeing the difference of like back then to now. Like, to your point, like the community is huge, and back then I feel like it was maybe a little more cliquey, and like crews didn't fuck with other crews and like all this type of stuff. And maybe it is still, I don't know, but to me, like going to Brighton and seeing like every fucking, not every pro, but like at least 10 pro snowboarders, like all hanging out, all riding together, all on different teams, filming for different projects and stuff like that. It was really fucking cool just to see, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And
when we got to see them, when we got to catch up to them.
Yeah, fuck all you guys.
The powder panic is real. There is a saying here, which is no friends on a POW day, and you were left in the dust. But I actually don't think that's real. I think the thing now, I don't know if you guys experienced this. Like when I was younger, it was so much like, got to get the shot. The only thing that matters is the clip at the end of the day. Like, I think I missed out on a lot of opportunities in life of enjoying the experience, of really cherishing the banter, like just being dipshits, building a cheese wedge, and the banter that's happening like that. That's it. It's like the trick is a bonus. You know, I think the mentality's shifted where it used to be like, well, I didn't get a clip. My day's ruined. You know.
It is lends itself to being a selfish endeavor, right? Filming your own video part. Like at the end of the day, it's you in that 2 minutes like that. You have to be slightly selfish, but I want to shout out Mikey Renz, who said it very, very well. He said, you have to enjoy the process. I know that's a buzzword, but if you go and you get a shot, if you go out and you don't get a shot, you went out. You went out with people and you had the most fun going snowboarding. So if you don't enjoy that process, you're going to regret your career or the times you have with your friends. Not just like get rid of career, I don't like that word, but like the time that you get to go snowboarding. If you don't enjoy that process, you're going to miss out on so many amazing, amazing moments.
Yeah, it's so easy to get wrapped up in the fact of just going out to get a shot and then you're not looking around and enjoying where you are. Like, we're in the mountains in the most beautiful setting ever with some of your best friends. Like, enjoy that and remind yourself of that, because truly it is easy to get wrapped up.
Yeah, I have so many memories of like you finish the day and you're sledding across the Brandywine Glacier, which most of us have. I'm sorry, so if you ever want to come,
visualize.
Visualize. Butts the nuts on the dew.
Yeah, you and me, baby, on the skidoo. We'll be on the 75. We can go anywhere on that thing.
Count me in.
That's
the missile.
Feeling. Yeah. But and it's kind of cheesy, but there's so many times when maybe I'm at the back of the pack, I'll just stop and like you see the sun setting and you're just like remember that, like just burn it into me, you know, just like never forget this because it's such a special moment.
I love it. Speaking of special moments, it's I think it's a good time to get into you know what, Silk D.
I think it might be time for Name That Video part.
Uh-oh.
All right. Now, Craig, you consider yourself, and I consider you, a student of the game. So we went 3-parter.
Oh my good God.
We went.
Wow. Okay, now you're gonna ask me how confident I am, and it was a 9.5, and now it's like maybe a 6.
6? Okay. I think we got a couple meatballs and a spicy jalapeno popper in there at the end.
Spicy little tomato.
Yes, a spicy little peanut allergy situation at the end, potentially.
Get my EpiPen.
Okay, first one. Here we go. Let's see how the kid does.
This is actually this is Heike Sorsa, second last part in Follow Me Around.
That's correct.
Nice
Good job.
You guys remember the opening shot of this when he's got the bandana with the money thing? I probably would have killed a human being to get that at a younger age.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly. For legal reasons.
For legal purposes. Yeah. Allegedly. Okay, here we go. Number 2. 1 for 3 so far.
This is a DC Mountain Lab. No, it's not. It's
same director. That's correct.
It is a Mac Dog Productions.
No, that's actually not correct. I was going to do this one third because this is the spicy jalapeno popper. This is the spicy.
What is in the middle?
Yeah, because I think he's got the other one. Same director as DC Mountain Lab. So that was a nice little nugget of information from Bobby Boudoir.
Yeah, it's a
which is Pierre Wickberg.
Yeah, it's a Wickberg production.
Oh no, guys. This could
bad. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks, guys. That was fun. Yeah, that was a good time. I got a flight to catch. Yeah, sorry. I gotta take this call. Hi, Mom. I'm scared. Is it Travis Parker? No, I give up.
It's after Lame and it's Jakob. And,
it's Jakob Wilhelmsen
and also Hampus, and it's like Parker's talking about him, and there's like saying how good they are at snowboarding.
Yes.
That was my spicy jalapeno popper.
And that, I'm going to regret this.
See, I had to give you one, but I'll see how you do on this one.
Can't believe I didn't get
Here we
that.
go. Focus up.
Is it Louis?
That is Jed Anderson. Get Real. Your comrade from the north.
TW Snow, get real.
TW Snow. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. 1 for 2. 1 for 3.
1 for 3.
Who has opening part in that video?
You do.
I do have an opening. That's
Bon Voyage is young.
Edward Sharp.
Edward Sharp and the Magnetic Zeros.
Yep.
I'm going home.
Okay. 1 for 3 is not
How come
bad.
you couldn't pick that one?
1 for 3 is not bad. I mean, I figured you're Canadian. You guys rode COP. I thought there was
Spent some time with Jed this weekend.
I thought you guys.
No, yeah.
I don't think Jed is mad. Jed's just a little disappointed.
I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. I'm just going to ask you how to do it better. Okay, I do understand, Chris, that I went 1 for 3, and that's on me. That's a classic that's on me situation. But to make it up to you listeners who are very disappointed in me, and rightfully so, this week's Name That Video part is a special one. Okay, we got a Nidecker sensor team. This is a 156, and I picked a song that is very rail heavy. It's a rail heavy part. So if you can guess this and you can comment on the Instagram of me right now first, then you get to win this Nidecker sensor team, okay? This is a 156. This is a beautiful ride.
Wow. I love it. That's one hot little potato right there. Let's get into it.
Meatball.
Okay. Comment on the photo of Craig Mick on Instagram for a chance to win that Nidecker pony. And thank you guys for playing Name That Video part. Let me play the theme song again.
Do we think he earned a prize pack for?
Oh yeah,
1
you
out of
did.
3?
You did 1 for 3. You got it.
1
So
for 3.
you put that on the table. Put that on the table. You got a Yeti.
It's heavy. This is full.
Oh, you forgot the bomb hole patch. We got to get the bomb hole patch on there. We'll put that on after.
Fix that up for
We
you
can,
later.
can we do that in post?
Yeah,
I'll
we can do that
fix it in post. It's gonna look really good. Yeah,
And
it's there right now. It looks great.
You got bomb hole merch in there. You got some hats, some toques. I believe there's a couple toques in there. You got some hoodies. You got some run through wall smelling salts. You did earn it because you got one right.
Yeah, and if you earned it, then Mark, you also earned your prize pack.
Mark
There's a little
you got
bomb hole
you got one
tote
behind
right
your
behind
dome
you.
ski there.
You guys are doing
Just
the
for
classic
you.
Dawn and Cindy. It's not your birthday, but you still get a present.
Classic,
Because
yeah. We had to include you.
The co-host gets
It's
something
a
to take
participation
home?
award
Yeah.
is what it is.
It was dependent
Thank you,
on how he
Bommel.
did in here, and I guess we're counting it.
Yep.
so.
Well, okay, I will take the fall on the video part 1, but I was proud of my my Alex Trebek trivia Jeopardy, the trivia one. I'm
Trivia,
going
you
to
were
take the win on
electric.
that one.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Now let's just talk about it because the seems like the DocuSign came through. New Connie for the kid, new plank under the feet. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, Nidecker. It happened really, really fast. I am really stoked on the brand, and what really kind of sold me on it was I first talked to Mons Roysland in Australia last summer, and he had absolute shout out to Mons. He was riding a Nidecker, and I was like, hey, what's the deal? Like, do you like it? And he was just like, had nothing but incredible words to say about the product and the people. And I was like, sick. So then we kind of started talking to Nidecker, and I think what really sold me is I had a call with the gentlemen that run it, and they were like, and I asked them, I'm like, hey, what's your goal? Like, why do we want to do this? Like, in 3 years from now, if you look back on what I've done in the past 3 years for you guys, like, how do I stoke you out? How are you happy? And they're like, we want to do what you want to do. We want to grow in North America. We want to put some momentum behind this. We want to build this brand. And I think as a rider, you guys can all speak to it as like, oh, sick. I'm on something that's growing, somebody that really wants to have me here, that wants to do cool projects, that, wants to make incredible product. And that was just a no-brainer to me. So shout out to Nidecker and Tom Pelly, who I've been dealing with the most over there. And been loving the board so far. Other than this Alpha APX, it ate some granite for sure.
Yep.
Little granite towers.
It handled it. Didn't break.
No, it didn't.
Did you say a little Granite Towers Equity Group?
Yeah.
Nice Dan Breezy reference. Nice reference.
Thank you. Yeah, so it saved me. But yeah, I've been riding the Sensor Pro and the Alpha APX and some Canon X bindings and the Rift boots. And I've always had a very high arch in my boot, or like in my foot. And I always get pressure points, and these ones are really helping that. So yeah, love it. Thanks for asking.
Sidebar, also, like for people that don't know, Nidecker makes a lot of other manufacturers' boards, right? So their products proven, right? The Nidecker factory does what? Rome, Lobster,
Battalion, yes, now Flux, and there's a number of other brands that I'm not saying right now, but yeah, they're kind of in it, and they've been around it. They know how to make good product, and yeah, so I'm excited for the next couple of years to come.
Amazing. I love that.
We're happy for you, Craig.
Thanks, Sparkle.
Yeah, round of applause for Craig. Nice.
Thank you, guys.
Let me tee up. We actually had a couple other sponsor questions here from Patreon members. Let me find this. What do we got here? Oh, this is a good one. Stuck in Ohio. Patreon question. Who's got the best dangles in the family?
It's pretty tough. I will give Mark this. When we were younger, he was a better hockey player than me. I did wear the C on my team, so I was really proud of that. I was
Tier 3.
I was a leader.
Wow.
But I think that Tier 3. Thanks, Mark. Okay, let's get a shotgun for that one. People don't forget. But no, I think now, I don't know. I just play more hockey than Mark does right now. But I think the award obviously goes to Don McMorris, he played in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League for the Weyburn Red Wings. Just a absolute grinder.
Solid D-man. Stay-at-home D-man.
Stay-at-home D-man. Well, and he was a little bit smaller for that position, so a lot of people say Quinn Hughes has modeled his game after Don.
Like a Bob. What about a Bobby Orr kind of mentality?
Yeah, absolutely, just a puck-moving D-man.
Yeah, okay. Now, is he known to go top cheddar, or where is he? Is he Bardowski, or
quick release on a snapshot?
Yeah,
snap, and
he can go bar Mexico,
and willing to stand up for teammates. Drop the mitts a couple times.
Okay, wow. A lot of times they say it's not how hard you shoot the puck; it's how quick you get off your stick.
Can confirm.
And would you say he's got a bit of a pucks in deep mentality, or open up the ice?
I think it's a skated up the ice kind of guy. Also, one more hockey story really quick that I got to tell about Mark is, and this also speaks to Mark's ability to practice and put in the work, is every single day Mark would come in and be like, yo, my slap shot's so much better right now. But you can't improve your slap shot every single day, but every single
you can. 1%, baby.
Yeah, 1% every single time.
So current day, who's got the better clapper? Who's teeing it up?
I think Mark's a better shooter and I'm a better passer.
You're more of a team player.
Absolutely. I'm an Apples guy.
Okay, I like that. Running up the points, It's a team effort.
It is. It truly is.
Okay, I like it. A couple guys just put their head down and grind. Love to see it. All right, we got another Patreon question. This one is from Cody Ferner. Hey, Craig, first-time listener, long-time caller. How did the Lululemon sponsorship come about?
Cody Fern, thank you so much. This is a deep cut joke right here. In Mark's episode, I called in as the guest and I said that joke, and Mark made fun of me. He said, you said it wrong, but that was the joke. You say, first time listener, long time caller, and Cody Fern got that. Shout out Cody Fern. That is sick. That's very funny. I'm laughing. LOL. And and the question was Lululemon.
Lululemon.
How did it come to be?
So Lululemon it's an amazing brand. It's based in Vancouver. And when I first started to hang out with the people that were involved in the brand, it was very like ambassadorship. Like you just be friends with the brand, and it wasn't like really anything. And then as they've grown, they started to build a team and brought me on. And it is like, till the day I die, I will argue it's some of the most incredible product. Like what I'm wearing right now is Lululemon. I love it. I've worn it for a number of years.
Did you have to get ordained to wear that, or because it does seem like we could be calling you Father Craig with that fit right there.
Father John Craig.
I need an old priest and a young priest. Yeah,
the power of Christ compels you.
No, I love it. It's like I do take some fashion swings, and sometimes they're swings and sometimes they're misses.
I'd say you hit it.
Thank you very much. Yeah. No, they have just been such a wonderful brand for me, and I'm excited. I was just DMing Minwoo Lee, who they just signed on the PGA Tour. He's going to be playing the Waste Management Open. So when this comes out, it will be over, and hopefully he has won. So shout out Minwoo Lee and the rest of the program, Todd Kupke, Fergie Kankade, who have kept me involved, and I'm excited. Yeah, I just love the product that they make. Goes under snowboarding. You can wear it everywhere. And
how's the downward dog going with that?
It's amazing. I stretch. I'm a yoga guy. I used to do gymnastics when I was little.
Greg's
And
got too much mobility.
I've seen that. Yeah.
too much sauce.
Yeah.
I can do the splits. I can do handstands, backflips.
Little sun salutation.
A little sun salutation, a little cobra pose.
Yeah, I like that.
Baby cobra pose.
Baby Cobra. Okay, I like it. Well, speaking of Waste Management Classic, we have a question from Mikey Cicerelli. Here we go.
Dear God.
Hey, Greg. Mikey here. Stoked to see you on the bomb hole. I got a little question for you. We had a wicked time golfing this summer. What was it like to get that hole in one? I mean, for me, it was special. I can't imagine what it felt like for you. Let's talk about it.
Psycho Mike, what a question. What a guy.
Yes. Paint the scene. Walk us through this, because I've never got a hole in one. I don't think anybody else here has. Oh, Hayden Tool Wrench has. He raised his hand. Okay. Well, he knows, so close your ears.
He knows what it's like. Okay, so I am a member at Nicholas North, which is right across from my house, and got to play it a lot. This was a very special group because we're with Marcos Miranda and Mikey Cicerelli, and then just an absolute wild card in there, Lion Farrell. Lion Farrell's in town because his dad was having his bachelor party there. And his dad's a little bit older, and they had a wild decision to have a bachelor party in Whistler where everybody just goes mountain biking on A-Line, which is the most aggressive downhill mountain biking.
Couple shoulders, I'd imagine.
Yep. So on day one, his dad goes down, and he's hurt. So he's not really hanging out with his dad because his dad is hurt. On day two, the best man fractures his foot and ankle. So then he's not there. So then Lion's like, I don't know what I'm going to do on the third day. We invite him out to play with us. We're on hole 12. 175 yards, all over water, and the marshal pulls up right behind us, right? And I think two guys go, and then I go, and I don't believe it. I hit a nice chill 8-iron into it, dunks it, and I don't believe it. I'm like, oh, it went behind, and Mikey starts losing his mind, and the marshal's there, so he's like, holy, that was a hole in one. So we all lose our minds. It's amazing. We go out after, we go to the clubhouse. We have the best time ever, but then Lion's dad and the rest of the bachelor party come out and start partying with us. And then you also know when you get a hole in one, you got to pay for everybody. So that was a
expensive day.
That was an expensive day, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was one of those things. And me and Mikey golf so much together. He is my best golfing buddy. So the fact that he was there was the most electric part about the whole thing. My biggest fear is you're by yourself or with some randoms and you get a hole in one and you kind of right on, guys. Yep, that's fun. Let's have a beer. It was wild. But what also kind of sucked was I was kind of on when I was actually shooting a good score, but then I just 3 holes left just blow up, and I'm like, whatever.
Question: did you say 8-iron 170 step down? What are we talking here? Because that's a bomb of an 8-iron.
Air's thinner. The wind was kind of at our back, and also it's a very tight green, so you want to hit it you almost have to knuckle the front of the green for it to hold. And the pin, it's like a 2-tier green. The pin was right in the middle, so you kind of want to hit it 155, and it's going to roll up there. But yeah, I've been hitting. I don't know why I hit an 8-iron on that one. I probably should have hit a softer 7, but I'm not complaining. Went in the hole.
Went in the hole.
Yeah.
Swing hard.
Just
it's a close your eyes, swing hard situation.
My MO is swing hard.
Yeah, swing hard. Swing hard. Okay. We were talking the other day talking about golf and snowboarding. And you had a hot take about how it's kind of cross training.
It is. I've been starting to walk 18, and that's a 10-kilometer walk. That's a bit of a distance, and I feel like it's one of the best representations of. And Hayden's you were so passionate about just hiking in the mountains and spending time on your feet.
Hayden gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Push cart?
I usually try to toss them on the back and symbolize a backpack. And I do feel you do get used that time on your feet, you know? That's just me justifying carrying 2 drinks and golfing 18 holes.
Do you have a BCA airbag on your back while you're doing it too to really kind of drive it home?
Absolutely. Sometimes I'll just put weights in there. I'll pull the thing. It'll pop up. Try and scare people on the tee.
I like that. That's a hot take. Before we move on from golf, you got anything else you want to add?
I do want to add that Cindy McMorris was the first McMorris to get a hole-in-one, 135 yards with a driver, very unorthodox.
Oh, D-stick, 130.
With the driver, very unorthodox, but the first McMorris to get it. I was the second, so we're leaning on Mark and Don to get the 3rd and 4th here.
I think Don's going to be before me. Don's probably the strongest golfer in our family. Well, now you probably, because you golf so much, but Don big shout out to Don for helping us get into the sport at an early age because, once again, fundamentals learned when you're young make the sport so much easier as you grow old.
But again, just to clarify, no hole in one.
No hole in one.
Okay, just
So okay, so and then
but you have one?
I have one,
and then your mom has one.
Yeah, and then so then Don and Mark would be the
just wanted to be I just want to be very clear about that.
So it's those two, I guess.
All right, we got a guest question from Jody Wachniak. He wanted to test your trivia nerd snowboardness. So here we go. Jody of Airtime Podcast.
What up, Bombhole? It's Jody from the Great White North Airtime Podcast calling in. A couple trivia questions for the boy Craig. All right, number one, Lewif, back 270 to switch. What part was that in? The first one he filmed. Number
days.
2, Follow Me Around. Aaron Bittner. What trick did he film in the iconic Tech 9 jersey? Looking forward to this one. Peace.
So the first one is Lewif in These Days.
Correct.
Very, very good one. And then the Tech 9 jersey, I think that is the 50-50 back one.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Good job, Craigie.
Thank you. I'm a visual learner.
Do you feel like we're back kind of after the name that video part? Do you think we just kind of we've
I went through a very dark period in my life, and it was about 10 minutes ago.
Okay, we weathered that storm though.
Hey, it's ups and downs. This whole trip's been ups and downs.
Yeah, a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
Speaking of ups and downs, I think it would be interesting to talk about a lot of. I mean, we could talk snowboarding, but I think that we could also talk nut allergy. Now,
hand in hand. Yeah.
One and the same.
We can't talk one without the other. I was told not to mention who should bring this up, but somebody did mention there's a ferry story situation that happened with a peanut allergy. I would love you to share the situation.
First of all, I would like to apologize to the taxpayers of BC who fund BC ferries. I have to say that legally before I tell this story. So I was with the filmer John Swiston, who filmed New Life Cinemas and actually our first video parts in 6s and 7s, Mark and mine. And he had the bright idea. I flew from Saskatchewan. He's going to pick me up. We're going to go get a RV on the island for some reason. And we get on the ferry, and he's like, "Do you want some ice cream?" I get some ice cream, and there's nuts in the ice cream. Okay, this is a nutty ice cream, and I don't really realize that till I'm halfway through the cone. Like a dog, kind of a very wild way of eating it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not good. I am allergic on a boat that is crossing over to Victoria from Vancouver. And
no EpiPen?
No EpiPen at the time. I alert the staff, the stewardess on board, and they say, okay, we're not even halfway. We're going to turn around because this is a medical emergency. And everybody is pissed, obviously, because they hear the engine stop. They hear the giant boat turning around, and they have me in a wheelchair for some reason. And I'm embarrassed, okay? I'm really embarrassed as we pull up to the dock and all the people are gathered at the front. And I'm like so embarrassed. They have me in a wheelchair and a blanket. And I put the blanket over my head so nobody can see me. And everybody's like, what the fuck? And then one guy's like, don't make fun of the old lady. And they wheel me off into an ambulance. Sure enough, I get the Benadryl. They give me the EpiPen. I stabilize by the time I get to the to the hospital. And they let me go. And I'm like, because you kind of turn around and you're like, okay, I'm better. Like, I'm not allergic anymore. My throat is opened. I can breathe. You kind of feel a little sketchy. But then Pete McLeod, who's like a Red Bull air racing pilot, just landed in Vancouver. He's like, what are you doing tonight? So he just comes and picks me up at the hospital, and then we go out and have a wonderful night. So it went, story of my life, ups and downs. I went from turning around a BC ferry to having a wonderful evening with a Red Bull air racer, Pete McLeod.
And to just add a little more context, how many people are generally on this ferry?
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. This is a commuter. I've been on the ferry, and every time you hear that engine stop, the rage that you feel for the individual that is stopping that. I apologize to everybody on that ferry.
Love it. Great story. Now, there's a lot of, what do you got? 24 combined X Games medals between the two of you.
Between the two of us, yeah.
25 at the table.
25 at the table, yeah.
Hey. Oh, wait.
27.
27 in the room.
And 28 because they don't count one of the Euro X Games.
Okay, 20. Silk, you got one we don't know about?
Yep.
Okay, so 29, including Silk.
Okay.
But X Games real snow, bronze medal. Let's talk about that part. Let's sink our teeth into that one. First thing first, I want to sink my teeth into the Switch 50-50.
Oh, thank you.
Can we what's going through your head at the top? I don't know if it's bungee, I don't know if it's winch. That must have been horrific.
It's a Natty Speed feature. It's in Sudbury, actually. And it's really interesting because it's a walkway for a lot of people that live there. And it was a 2-day session. It was a battle. Like, it was really, really scary. It's high off the ground, cheese grater stairs. Like, if you go to the inside, you're done. And maybe like 10 tries in, 11 tries in, this lady kind of comes up to us and she's like, oh, you guys are snowboarding on this. We've seen snowboarders before. She's like, every single one has gone to the hospital that's ever hit this rail. Like, just get in the kitchen situation. Like, and I'm like, oh God, okay, sick, thank you. Because it's true,
Should we
Jason.
call the ambulance?
Yeah, should we call them right now? Call the BC Ferries guys. Get the stewardess out here. Yeah, Jason Dubois got banged up on it, and Frank Bourgeois got banged up on it too. And those are two very, very good rail snowboarders. So I had the fear of God in me. Thankful to Troy S. and Marcus Skin, who were there, like, making it happen. Finally got the switch 50-50 after 2 days. But I don't think that was the year I broke my ribs. No, I think it was actually. I broke my ribs on like the first spot we hit. So then we kind of had to take a chill pill. And then it was, you just feel that pressure of
X Games. Taco in the kink? That might have been a different year. That Toronto kink or something?
That was a different year. That was for fixing. That was not fun.
Your ribs must have broke on that, right? Or no?
Not on that one, actually. I thought I got the forearm in there, which is actually a really bad
I had that
idea.
where you get your foreskin in there, too. That actually continue.
I've been cut against my will.
Oh, boy.
No, so it was like, that was not a fun one. But we got it, and it was like, I feel like I filmed with you one clip before in your X Games Real Snow. I believe it was your cab one in Montreal, and you were like, I'm a momentum builder. And that Switch 50 was a huge momentum builder for me because we didn't get a lot. And then when you're like, okay, I've got my ender, now let's build this thing out, it's a real like sense of relief. So I kind of learned that one from you, actually.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now let's just talk about Real Snow mentality too, because you had, I noticed a couple staples. You always bang us over the head with the hard way back two on that gap rail.
Craig's won a few rail jams with that too.
That is a moneymaker for you.
That's the go to the well situation. Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's a high potential ping move.
It's almost, I feel Phil Mickelson with the ping drivers out there. Like, it's a very dangerous way of approaching a rail. And I remember I did it at Sastel Jib Fest, which was a rail jam in Regina for the first time, and I was like, this is the rest of my life. I'm gonna do this trick every day.
Let's talk about your
first day of my rest of my life.
Mentality going into Real Snow though, because there is like a mindset.
Absolutely. I mean, your gold medal Real Snow. I watched that the other day. Just how sometimes YouTube just feeds you stuff, and I was like, that is such an unbelievable video part. Like, it is a mindset. You have to like.
And the time frame, right?
Yeah, and what I think is really special about my bronze medal, and I will champion this, is I was against Frank Bourgeois and Anto Chamberlain that year, who I would make the argument are two of the greatest real snowboarders. Like, they are built for that. Like, I think they've been in the event more than any two snowboarders of all time. You can fact check me. But I just think, like, going against them, it was a real learning experience, and also helping Anto film a bunch of real snows, you kind of like understand what is required of that. You definitely don't want to do it every single year because it's very mentally draining and exhausting and dangerous. And you also have to film a type of video part that I think is really sick to do for a year or two, but it also doesn't show your entire, like, what you think is cool in a video. Sometimes you have to be just like, where's the biggest spot and what's the hardest trick I can do? Which sometimes doesn't lend itself to maybe making it the coolest it can be. But I think it's very special that I got invited for a couple of them, and it was a very special event. Yeah, I love it. Can I ask you one question? I know you're the host, but I really want to ask you this. What was your favorite shot in your Real Snow?
Favorite one? When you said momentum, I remember I was really struggling to get clips. And then I did that 50-50 back three.
In Montreal
on the drop back three. And that was, I had strucken out on like 3 or 4 spots, so the confidence was low. And that was kind of like, I call it the snowball effect. Like, the snowball started to roll from there where my confidence got, and then you're rolling, But so that one was kind of like a turning point for me. But yeah, I like that one. Going back to Real Snow though, it went away a few years ago. So we've always had this, like, every year there's whatever it is, 8 video parts, and it's like the gnarliest, biggest street stuff crafty. You're seeing progression get pushed as far as size and technicality and hard tricks because you're literally being judged in the streets, which some could argue is not what snowboarding is about, but it was great for the progression of street snowboarding. Now there's no more real snow. Do you feel like it has changed the landscape of the way people approach video parts in street snowboarding these days?
Fantastic question. That's a really, really good question. And I think, like everything, there's ebbs and flows, like
ups and downs,
peaks and valleys, roses and thorns. It's like, remember when Dan Breezy was doing all those like that massive stuff, and it was kind of like an Anto, and they were kind of going in this direction, and that's where people thought like, okay, if I want to get that next contract, I have to do the biggest thing, right? And then it kind of like, and the pendulum swings the opposite way, where it lends itself to smaller, more creative, very unique features, something very, very different. And I think it's just like kind of a pendulum. And right now, I think we're in a really interesting time. And I don't know if everybody at home, Randy from Red Deer is banging on the steering wheel, being like, no, it's got to be bigger. But I think it's like just a really interesting time of like, there's spot selections, but I think we need a little bit more trickery. I don't know. That's just like my opinion. Might be an ice cold take, but like, I just think I think a lot of boarders are finding amazing spots. And when I look at a Louif, like Big Lou, he finds those amazing spots, and then he also does the hardest possible trick you can do on it. I think I admire that a lot. And I think right now we're kind of, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm not saying I'm not, I'm part of it, but like sometimes a little board slidey, a little 50-50, where it's like maybe take an extra day, find that spot, and figure out how you can maybe do a trick on it. And I know I'm saying that like it also, like there are spots where you can only do a 50-50 or a board slide. That's totally fine for sure. But I think sometimes we get a little caught up in the incessant need for constant content. Like you got to get a trick every single day. And I think sometimes it's like maybe take 2 days and get a better trick. And I think I need to do that better in my snowboarding right now.
I disagree. Mark, you got a take?
I mean, like Craig said, there is a pendulum that swings, and I personally love seeing the creative spots, natural speed, more skate style filming, follow cams, that kind of stuff. I really enjoy that. I thought Jed kind of put everyone on his back this past year with his ride video part. I thought it was so nice to see him back, and he always has great spots and hard tricks, chill tricks. I think he is the example of how to film a street video part, and big shouts Jed on that one. And Craig, I think you do a great job. And
thank you.
It's just finding that mix. You want to have the obtainable content that makes people want to go do it, but you also got to have that NAR factor too. So
I think the key word there is the mix. Like it's a body of work. Like it, some people could be like, well, Jed did a back 50 on this thing, and it's like, yeah, that's a palate cleanser for a switchback lip down like a quad king or whatever, like a 4-down. Like it's the entire piece as opposed to picking apart one trick and talking about that. Like you have to look at the
body of work.
It's a body of work. I celebrate his entire collection.
Yeah. I like Bud Keen mentioned a half pipe run like a blues riff. It's like it takes you up, it brings you up, and then he's like, and then Sean White does the sky hook and it slows down, and it's like palate cleanser, and it's true. A video part's that same way, and I think you're totally right. Like I have a probably an ice cold take, but I'm a big bring the winch back guy. Let's get the winch back out there because a lot of times I think I see in the rhetoric amongst the quote unquote core snowboarding community is like, man, I'm just looking for natty speed. Which but it really limits the spots that you can hit. And to me, 1 A grade's worth 10 fillers. And I think we're in this mentality of like you said, let's get a clip every day. But back in the day, it'd be interesting to talk about too, like hazard pay. Like if you think about real snow, people are going to win 25 grand if they back rodeo onto that rail. You take it away. What's the motivation? I don't know.
It's purely, it's got to be in yourself to do the trick. And I don't think that's an ice cold take. This has been my mantra the entire time is like, I'm not pro winch. I'm not anti winch. I'm not pro natty speed. I'm not natty speed. Whatever you need to do to film a sick clip, that should be done. Like, I don't understand why you would, it's already like the nichest of the niche, and you're already hamstringed by snow and locations and all this stuff. Like, you don't even see it on the video. Like, it doesn't, like, I totally understand if you're like, I hate it, I don't want to do it. Great, for sure. But I don't know why anyone would limit themselves of hitting like a cool spot, like.
If you're filming fisheye, you don't know if there's a there's a giant mountain behind you, or you're getting towed in by a winch. That's a good point too.
For sure. Like I think it's like the way anybody makes a movie. Make the shot the best it can be.
But I think it's also subjective what a sick clip is to somebody. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, the natty speed clips could be very important to, like, certain riders, but then, like, what a sick clip to you is I need that fucking winch to get up that fucking thing.
No, I know, but that's the point I'm trying to make is there's not one way. Like, I love natty. I want to hit natty speed spots all the time, but, like, let's say we go on a trip and I get 3 natty speed spots and I'm like, okay, there's one thing over there that I think would be pretty cool. And objectively, a good clip is a good clip. Yeah, I don't care who you are, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
A bit of a Rome Snowboards presents no correct way kind of scenario.
Like, if you need the winch, use the fucking winch is what it comes down.
That's what I'm saying is like, oh, this is a 6 spot. You really want to do this trick. It's going to make your video part better. And then to be like, I don't use the winch to not hit.
Yeah, so you don't go out of your way to be like, I'm not doing what I want to do because it needs a winch, and that's what.
Or it doesn't need a winch. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say is like, just, I mean, whatever you want to do to hit the spot, do that to hit the spot, you know?
Get the clip.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be penalized to use a winch. You know, it is what it is. And when you think back to some of those Frank Bourgeois parts, dude, some of the stuff he's doing, you need a winch, and those shots are so fun to watch. So why are you going to hate on it?
Yeah. If you want a clip where somebody's jaw's on the floor, then sometimes you need that.
Yeah.
You know, and I like it. Rome, no correct way.
Yeah, there is it's no correct way. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't, You've been on trips before where you're like, this is really hard. And the only way this is going to work is because if we do this or this or this.
Also, the winch is a fucking burden. You got this giant like thing in the back of the rental car. It smells like gas. You throw your back out trying to. I remember I dropped the winch on my toe. I had like a black toe for like 3 years. The thing never really healed. It still looks disheveled.
Mr. Deed style?
Yeah, Mr. Deed. Yeah, exactly.
Hammering it with a fire poker.
How? These are some hot takes. Well, I mean, your winch fluid, so to speak.
I'm winch fluid.
Your winch fluid. What about the dew? Where are you at with skidoo?
That's mandatory, okay? We can wax poetic all day of what should and shouldn't be done in the streets, but there is an absolute guarantee if you are not on a skidoo in the backcountry, you're doing it wrong.
Hashtag that skidoo feeling.
Did I hear you say you're on the 175?
I am on the 175.
Dear
That's the workhorse though. That'll get 2 big boys up any face any day.
That's basically a sporty utilitarian vehicle combined.
It's military grade.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's the wheelies? You got to be about 40 feet off the ground and you go 12 o'clock on that thing, huh?
Yeah, I get actually a little bit of I'm scared. You get scared of heights when you're doing a wheelie and you look down below you. You're like, whoa, oh my God.
Track's still
That's
touching.
75 centimeters away from me. No, I have been really, really lucky. Skidoo has just been a wonderful, wonderful family to be a part of. They do things so good and they are so meticulous. I did a Skidoo shoot for the new 2025 product dropping. I actually have a sticker here I'm going to put up. It's got a QR code so you can see all the new product. But it is, I'm going to put that right on the mic here. You zoom in at home. No, it is so sick because they are like so passionate. It is such a different world than snowboarding, but it's so cool to marry them. You know, like when I'm with sledders like Carl Kuster, who's one of the most famous Skidoo ambassadors of all time and X Games medalists, and like Jay Menterberry and like Nadine Overwater, like you're with these individuals who are so good at their craft and so gnarly, and then you like marry how we do it. Like the way that we go snowmobiling is extremely different than the way they do, and you learn so much from them, and they learn so much from us. So it's like such a sick partnership, and just like on that shoot when we had the new 2025 product, like you just get absolutely blown away. It's like Formula One where they like back up the trailer, you go out, you shoot on it. They have guys waiting, so nobody's taking photos of the new product. They rifle it in there, and then the engineers are in there like doing all the tests and stuff like that. It is so intense, and I just like am so amazed by it. It's so different from what we do, but you learn so much.
Bombardier, big shouts to Canada.
Yeah.
One of Canadians' most luscious exports.
For sure. Trains, planes, ski-doos,
side by sides.
sea-doos.
You guys got Sea-Doos, right? Do you have a Sea-Doo?
I have a Sea-Doo, yeah. I got the Explorer Pro, and that thing is You can go on the ocean. We kind of got the gang all into it.
You doing
Rasman.
toe-ins? Are you doing toe-ins to pipeline or anything like that?
Just towing in on barefoot. Do a lot of barefooting behind it.
Do you actually?
Yeah, toe to nowhere. Yeah, I love barefooting.
Toe to nowhere.
Yeah, feet on fire situation.
Dude, can we get into barefooting for a hot second? Because I literally got a concussion. It is dangerous. I took the one ski off and I just stepped into a hole and it was a fly swatter scenario. I don't know how you do it.
You got to come down like Blake Paul.
Oh, Gordon Lightfoot.
Yeah, Gordon Lightfoot. Yeah, R.I.P. You also you also did it like you starting barefooting would be the I would equate that to Hayden trying to do the traverse on day one of Brighton.
Yeah, that's like
analogy. The worst way of starting it you possibly can do. What you got to do is you got to get up on a wake skate or a wake surf and then sit down on it, put your feet in, and then they hammer it and you stand up. That's like the beginner way of doing it. You just went face full of water.
Yeah, absolutely. It was not a good scene. We got a Patreon question for Benny Pellegrino. Benny Pellegrino, shout out, air horn, legend, says, Gregory, how long did it take you and Sparky to lose the wakeboard stee? Do you think air rally is possible on snow?
What do you mean lose it?
Maybe towed behind a snowmobile. Is the air rally possible on snow? So take that however you want.
Shout out Benny Pellegrino. Love your soda water. I don't think we really had.
It was like a lot of half and half, and for me, I was doing a lot of skating too. But yeah, I think just standing sideways on anything didn't hurt us for sure. But that the wakeboard side. The summers started to evaporate when we'd start to go to New Zealand and stuff. But we were so lucky growing up as kids in Saskatchewan. Being able to be on the lake and enjoy that with our friends was so fun. But yeah, no, I don't think an air rally is possible on a snowboard. TBH.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Ben. And we also major shout out to our dad and mom who kind of sacrificed to get into wakeboarding because it's a very expensive sport and it was a great way to ride something and do flips. I look at Liam Brarley and Cam Spalding and a lot of the young snowboarders who are really good, and that's a good way to learn how to do backflips and front flips and all these kind of weird rotations that they can do. And we also had this wonderful crew of guys that were a little bit older, guys and gals that were a little bit older than us that were really into wakeboarding, and then took us under their wing. And we'd go ride with people who are 8 or 9 years older than us, and you kind of learn how to be a little bit cooler than the young Grom that's super annoying. Because you're with these guys and gals like Adam Burwell, Dylan Miller, Ashley Lugner, just to name a few that they're okay, this is the way that you act in this kind of stuff, and you look up to them, and hopefully when you go snowboarding with older people, you understand okay, this is what an 18 and 19-year-old wants when I'm 15 and 14. Just learn how to hang out a little bit.
Totally, and that definitely helped us as humans growing up. Playing sports with older people, and then all these people that we would spend time with in the summer would love to snowboard all winter too. So it was a good community we had in Saskatchewan. Not a lot of kids our age, but to be able to be standing sideways, whether it be skating, snowboarding, wakeboarding, whatever it was, these older people definitely helped shape us.
This might be an ice cold take, but I'm going to dive in here. Wakeboarding, like you mentioned, Liam Brearley, Cameron Spalding, Zeb Powell.
Oh yeah, Zeb's
nasty.
Yourselves.
Yeah.
You guys have roots. Is that the
Danny
new
Davis?
Who's that?
Danny Davis.
Danny D. I didn't know that. So maybe there is something to it though, with the landing flat for sure. Because there's no landings.
Well, it's straight up, just as I mentioned right off the top. It's if you're skateboarding, if you're bouncing on a trampoline, if you're doing it's like the Wayne Gretzky technique where he's tell your kid play lacrosse, play baseball, do all the other sports because that's going to help you at hockey, right? And it does if you can't go snowboarding, what's the next best thing? Skateboard, jump on the trampoline, go wakeboarding, go wake skating, do all that kind of stuff. So it's a good cross training.
Nice way to spend your summer.
Oh yeah,
on the lake, and then I think we didn't really get our boots in the bindings on a wakeboard for many moons because we just started realizing we loved snowboarding and didn't really want to jeopardize that at all because you can get so played wakeboarding. So we'd mess around on the wake skate here and there, and then wake surfing or whatever, but. Yeah, we definitely devoted most of our life by the time we turned 15 and 17 to just strictly focusing on the snowboarding side of things.
Makes sense. It seems like it's a Canadian, it's a common thing in the Canadian scene because you guys got a shitload of lakes and whatnot. But to keep it moving, when the lakes are frozen, you guys can go out there and dangle twig, which brings me to Thunder Bay, Ontario, which brings me to James Bay and Hudson Bay. For those who are unfamiliar, you guys had an appearance on Letterkenny, very popular. Would you call it hockey show? I guess Canadian show,
Canadiana. It would be in the. I put it in the same realm as like a Trailer Park Boys or something like that. Yeah. We got really lucky and got to play a couple characters on one of the episodes, James and Hudson Bay.
Yeah, how'd that happen? How'd that come to be?
Honestly, just big fans of the show, and then. Our agent called us one day and he was like, "Do you guys want to go film an episode?" And we're like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." And we're I don't know. I think these kids that are acting on the show were just Canadians, and we all are a tight-knit family. We know what each other's doing. We look up to each other, and they were super welcoming to us when we came to shoot. And then later on, they came to our foundation softball tournament, and it's crazy how that show really took off. It made its way south of the border, and those kids didn't necessarily have a ton of acting experience, and now they're all pretty well-renowned actors.
Fantastic actors, and shout out Jared Kiso, who they just wrapped up their final season of Letterkenny, and his other show Shoresy is now taking off. So
season 2 just came out.
Season 2 of Shoresy just came out. Incredible show if you haven't watched that. So we're very thankful they included us in there, and it's really funny watching actors be really good at acting. Because it's like a wild thing to see somebody go in a character who you've just been chatting with in the trailer or at Crafty, and then they're Stuart or some crazy character. It was really fun.
Incredible how they remember their lines, long
paragraphs,
and they're just first try. I thought it would be a ton of takes. Everyone was just nailing it. I was like, whoa.
Now, do you get recognized more for snowboarding or for Letterkenny?
Half and half.
Half and half, actually.
I mean, a lot of people that show is such a cult classic in Canada, and now that it's on Hulu, I believe in the States, it's picking up here. I think they would have been bigger. They were going to do a huge tour, a live performance tour throughout the States, but then COVID hit, and they didn't get to do that as much. But that thing just got wildfire.
I got another wormhole to go down.
Okay.
Like we talked about earlier, pucks in deep. It seems like you're one to just put your head down and do the work. What percentage do you think your ratio of talent to work ethic is, Craig?
Impossible question to ask. I have no idea. That's really, really hard. I don't know. I guess I came up and I learned how to film a snowboard part from, you're always a product of your environment, I truly believe. Anto Chamberlain, Torstein Horgmo, Andreas Wig. I was filming with John Swiston and Craig Beaulieu when we were younger, and working with Mark and Adam, and you're just such a product of your environment, and those individuals work so hard. No excuse. There's no reason you can't get this done. Every spot you can do. You just got to figure it out. So I think I'm definitely I think I have way more work ethic than talent, I think I'm decent at snowboarding, but I think I put in the work. I try to ride as much as I possibly can. Whenever I'm at home in between trips, that's why I moved to Whistler, is to get your reps up. Because you look at everybody who's really good or who's really getting better, it's the people that spend the most time on snow. I think that's just a simple math. It's just math.
You got anything to add to that, Sparky?
I would agree with Craig. Craig has an incredible work ethic, and I think just both growing up in vertically challenged places made us have that work ethic, and definitely we have talent, but a lot of it came from just putting our head down and grinding.
Feast or famine situation.
There's a bit of a reason why there's a C on the chest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, lead by example situation.
Exactly. I think that's a fun topic though, because everybody's looking for the secret potion of how do you do it? How did you make it? And I think people are always concerned with how do you get sponsored? How do you do this? How do you do that? But simply put, just fucking get the reps up.
Yeah, and passion. If you're super passionate about it, you're going to get really good at it. Mm-hmm. That's just how it's going to go. And Craig and I loved nothing more than snowboarding.
Yep.
There's no way that anything was higher prioritized in our lives. We wanted to make it, and and it worked out.
Look where we're sitting right now. The reason that this is so successful, the reason that you all are listening to this or watching this on whatever medium you are, is because you, Chris, put so much work into this thing. Look at how beautiful this studio is. Like it's very easy actually. It's just work as hard as you possibly can, pick a goal, pick a direction, and keep running at that thing until you get there, right?
And then run through it.
And then run through the wall with the smelling salts.
I think that's a good cue. It's time to hit a salt.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we want to open up this can of worms, but I'm going to crack it open. And I'm talking, I do think sometimes there's a little like misplaced energy too, where I think sometimes I see a little bit of misplaced energy in regards to like a lot of energy going to like things are stacked against me and putting like really a lot of energy towards like the like hurdles that people have. And I think sometimes if that energy was placed towards just like going for it. I love to use the analogy of like a drug addict, for example. It's like someone might be homeless, like literally homeless, but they're gonna get their fix. Like there is no fucking excuse. And I hate to say it, but I think in snowboarding that sometimes that mentality is like what it takes to fucking barge your way, run through a wall smelling salt style through that door.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with that. If you really want something, you can go get it. And it doesn't matter what's stacked against you. There are avenues to figure it out, and it might not be like that exact goal you had in mind, but if you put energy into something, you're going to get right there near it. So put your best foot forward and have a smelling salt.
Cheers.
Oh,
jeez.
Wow. How was that one for you?
Yeah,
Hayden?
Bernanke?
I'm crying.
Oh, that got me.
I'm crying after that speech.
Wow.
Honestly, that was beautiful, you guys. That was very well said.
Wow.
But I do think it again, I use examples like you. I use examples like Lou, like Anto Chamberlain. Like going to a spot with Anto Chamberlain, there are so many obstacles. Are you going to get kicked out? Does this work? The speed might be an issue. Like this isn't sliding. Like, how do you change this? These are all just opportunities. And it's very easy to be like, well, it doesn't work. Like it doesn't work. I can't do it. But then did you actually try? Did you ever actually exhaust every single option until you get there? Also, this sounds very preachy. I'm pretty lazy too. So sometimes I do give up. But if you really want
we're all
something,
guilty of
if
saying,
you
it doesn't work. But
if you do really want something, that's where I think my snowboarding career kind of like, it was never a thing of like that I wasn't going to do it. That was just like the given. Like that was always like the parents like, what's your plan B situation? Well, like there's no, well, that's not like that's what I'm going to do. Right. So I think you kind of get lucky with that hollow head mentality.
Oh, I love that. That's passion. And then that brings us to tennis, latest project.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Tee us up. Provide some context.
So I did Fixin' the year before with Ben Webb and Seb Judge, and those guys edited it, and that was like a little bit of a longer form movie. I think that was like 30 minutes, and we had like Tommy Van in there, and we had the gentleman and the guys from Golden, like Dustin Craven, Mateo, Tyler Lightfoot, Darcy Keller, and a number of other individuals in there that really made that thing happen. And it was a little bit of a longer form project, and I like really burnt me out trying to produce and direct it and like get the funding and do all that kind of stuff. So with tennis, I actually watched Curran Caples had a Vans part come out that was like 8 or 9 minutes long, and he had so many homies that like mix it up. So it was like a full part, but it also felt like a mini movie. And I was like, that's really cool. I want to do that. So Seb Judge and I like kind of put our heads down and did that. We went out with Ben Bullock, and we went out with Tanner Davidson. Jack McDougall has an incredible backside rodeo 7 on 4-step
opener.
Down. Yeah, opener shot of that. Tommy Doyle filmed all the backcountry stuff, or most of the backcountry stuff, and it was just like a smaller, a little bit more of a relaxed project. I was really hyped on it. I think Seb's an amazing editor, Seb Judge, and he worked so hard on it. Shout out to Red Bull and Oakley and Lululemon for supporting that one. So that was amazing. And then like we also just finished up, it just got on YouTube, is the Nidecker Welcome to the Team part. And that was actually all filmed this year already. So we did one trip to Sweden and one trip to St. John's, Newfoundland, pardon me. And that was electric. I love that province and that town. You've been there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's lots of spots. People are really nice. This one security guard came up to us, like absolute guaranteed kick out. And he's just like, hey, pretend you're putting your shovel away. And we're like, okay. So we like put it away and he's like, oh, looks like you guys are cleaning up. Have a great day. And then just like drives away.
Which spot was that?
That was the ender, the 50-50 on the down flat. And then I do a back one under the concrete ledge. I was there with Adam Franks and Chris Corbett came. And yeah, it was an amazing trip. And Seb turned that around for Nidecker really, really fast. And yeah, I was happy with it. I was really happy with it. So go check it out on my YouTube.
Amazing. Yeah, tennis turned out really good. I don't know much about Jack McDougall, the back rodeo 7 on form set down, but then he does that Miller flip 5. He seems like a bit of a weapon too, that kid.
Absolute problem out there. And he was also on like Cale Stevens' old white Skidoo that's like 500 years old and like doesn't really work that good. And he's putting in the work. He's getting out there. He's going for it. So to see, like, that's what I want to do with fixing in tennis is like, in Whistler, there is so much talent. It is
Put the kids on.
Put the kids out there. Yeah, put them on the first line and watch what they do. They're going to be an absolute problem out there. Yep. And Jack McDougall, Sean Miskamin, Mikey Cicerelli in the King Snow movie, like those kids just give them a crack in the door and they're kicking that thing down. And that's what I want to do with fixing in tennis is just like show this amazing talent that might not get in front of the camera, give them a chance and proofs in the pudding.
Let the kid in, see what the kid can do.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the Great White North. Do you feel like you guys have a major disadvantage compared to United States of America in terms of getting your foot in the door like you talked about?
That gets thrown around a lot for sure. Luckily, in my instance, I was competing a lot on that world stage and kind of getting into it, and no one was really like, oh, Mark's from Canada. It was just like, Mark's Mark. You know, and then obviously when the Olympics come around, they realize you're from Canada. But I don't feel like people look at me as a Canadian pro snowboarder. It's just he's a pro snowboarder and he hails from Canada. But I do see that divide at times with kids coming up and things like that and sponsorship. And it can be a little tricky, but I mean, it's in your hands. You can make your way south of the border and you can get your name out there.
It's a class, like, yeah, I mean, if you grow up in Salt Lake City and you're around all the brands, for sure, you don't have to get on a plane and move or do anything like that. Like, you're talking to people who are in it. But again, like you said, like, this place is amazing. Move somewhere where you can get noticed and stuff like that. And I think, or just do tricks that people can't ignore it. You know, like Jack McDougall, I think he's kind of getting some doors open. Sean Miskamin from Fixin' got some doors open where it's like film footage that people simply cannot ignore. And then go from there. You know, it comes back to our work ethic question. It's also easy for us sitting here who have we're very lucky. We have sponsors. You know, we've come south of the border many times. So Hayden, like you've done that. Sookie D, you look amazing over there, by the way.
Thank you.
He's a fashion icon.
Yeah, he's a fashion icon. But go ahead, Hayden.
No, keep going. I'll jump in.
I was just gonna say, it is easy for us to sit here and say like, oh, all you got to do is this. All you got to do is this. But it is as simple as I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can. I'm going to put my, my body on the line or whatever I can to get in front of the camera and to film a video part I'm proud of.
And cater to those relationships. I've always said it's 50% how you board and 50% how you treat people. Be nice, treat people with kindness and don't give up. Like for me, I'm pretty sure I was really annoying to Red Bull when I was like 14, 15. I was like, yo, check this out. And then sure enough, yeah, just be persistent. You know, it's going to come to you if you ride good enough, if you're a nice kid, you treat people with respect, it's all going to happen.
Dude, a funny story about that is that I remember meeting you when you were probably like 16 at the Oakley head office.
Hey.
Or like the mothership, what do they call it?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
a crazy looking fucking structure.
Yeah.
I was there for Transworld, like in color or something, and it might have been a premiere or some shit, and you were there. Yeah. And I think it was the first time I met you, and I was like, damn, that kid is so nice.
Aww,
you know, like,
thanks,
or it's just like a sweet kid, you know, like not like a shithead, you know, you could be at that age, you know. But sure. I was like, okay, and he's doing the right thing. He's being here. He's like doing that. And like to go back to your point and like your point as well, to like be amongst the people. Like Harrison Gordon has a pretty famous, or I don't know if it's a famous quote or I'm putting him on blast, but he's like, it's like who you smoke weed with. I think that's the fucking quote. But like, it's true though. And like, I saw like, and to his credit, like Jake Kuzik, amazing snowboarder on another level, but also did those correct steps to make it so he was down at like the Volcom Peanut Butter Rail Jam in like 2011, or like amongst the Ashbury homies, and like
put yourself in the situations that are gonna lend to you
sometimes the trick's just showing up.
Yeah, actually. And like Whistler's a tough place because like in Canada, it's the only place you can really go besides Quebec to like start a snowboard career, and in the backcountry as well. So like you see the Mikey Rents, you see the Mark Sollers that like kind of made it out in just being like Canadian backcountry snowboarders, not doing contests or anything, and seeing that perspective. And even then it was probably a struggle for them. As far as they went or are going, it's still like always going to be harder, I do think, for Canadians because of the brand location. And like you can't be in Encinitas, you can't be in Salt Lake, you can't be where the brands are. It's tough to build those relationships and have those team managers like back you or like want you to succeed or like even care to put money into it.
And nowadays you have to do that to the nth degree, right? It's not as simple as like
not good at math. I don't know what that means.
The nth degree, like the most amount you possibly can.
Nowadays
you have to like.
Got it. That was new for me too.
So this is learning.
Yeah. Hey, we're all. It's a journey. You have to like. I feel, especially with the lack of video parts and stuff like that, you've got to figure out how can I be of value to these companies, right? Like I always try to put myself in a situation of a brand or a TM of like, how do I prove value to these brands? So I don't know.
That's one thing I always thought of, and now that I'm not involved in anything, but it's like,
yeah, for folks at home, Hayden's made a million snowboarders.
Also, before Hayden gets into this rant, you might be wondering, who is Hayden the Tool Wrench? And I think we should clear that up because he produced Transworld in color.
I didn't produce it, but I Joe directed it.
Yeah, you made.
He was there.
I filmed
he was there.
Edited a few parts, broke my fucking leg for the shit.
Deja Vu. Encore?
Yeah.
Super Glue?
Yeah, that's the most recent. A Beacon?
Beacon? Yeah, Beacon's a masterpiece. You're looking at the brain behind Beacon.
We've looked up to so much of Hayden's footage for a very long time, but Hayden's been out of the game for a little bit, like a couple of years, 3 or 4 years, right?
Yeah,
3 years.
2020 Super Glue was the last thing.
Yeah, so it's been really fun on this trip. Like you have a very different look than you did 3 or 4 years ago of what snowboarding and the worst term, the industry.
Yeah. What was I talking about?
Coming up as a Canadian or something, or how it's harder to get your foot in the door.
No,
I was talking about how the landscape of snowboarding is very, very different from what it used to be, and trying to put yourself in other people's shoes. I think for life, that's a great mantra or whatever, but for a brand of like, hey, this is a brand I want to ride for. What do you think is valuable to them? What do you think is valuable to this team manager? How do I provide value to them so it's a mutually beneficial relationship?
And a much easier way to get noticed now with the online presence and then, catering to those relationships. Go ahead, Hayden.
Okay, there we are, back. Brain is working. My biggest thing is like, do you think when brands look at a snowboarder or rider or athlete, however you want to call it, like, do you think they have a dollar value attached to that rider? Being like, is there an ROI on this rider that we're going to make back by them selling our product? I always thought about this, right? Like filming, like
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to field this real quick. So, I mean,
do you mind if I take that?
I was looking around and everybody's kind of, I'll just jump on it.
It's a weird question.
But no, like Ken Block, for example, founder of DC Shoes, right? He came on this show. And he based RIP, fucking super air horn, goddamn legend. And so Ken said to me, he's like, in this booth, he's just like, it's very, a lot of riders don't understand that when a company gives you X amount of dollars, they are expecting X amount of dollars in board sales in return. That's how the world works.
That's just marketing.
It's just marketing, right? You spend money to then get that much money back. And so as the CEO of and founder of DC, that kind of answers your questions, and that would be my answer.
And I think, Ken and DC did an amazing job building a brand, a complete brand image, and not just on a selective rider. Like they had the Simone, they had Travis Parker, they had Ika, they had Devin at the time, and like all that culmination of like riders made you want to be a part of DC and the videos that they produced. So like taking that aside, like they're not looking at like an individual rider's part being like, okay, there's 30,000 in sales, you know, like, and then, but that whole video, they're like, that's fucking huge. Like Mountain Lab, you missed the answer, but
Hey, bad.
I think that those videos did more as a collection, at least from my perspective as like a video enthusiast, did more as like a brand building exercise than one single rider alone. And when you look at that, they're not really building heroes out of one single person, but more of a like blanket, like say a random number, like, okay, our budget's 5 million to make DC Mountain Lab. I don't know if that's even close, probably closer to 2. But you're like, okay, are we gonna get 2 million back this year? And that's all we're making. Because back then, it was no web. There was no like, oh, we can see the numbers and views. We can see all that shit. It was just DVD sales, and that was fucking it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, do you think they were seeing...
It's the age-old conundrum of every single brand that markets. Every single brand that ever marketed is, we're going to spend this much money. We believe we're going to get more back in the long term. But as people who have been the marketing tools on this side, we can't prove that. There's no mathematical formula that shows the ROI that you've, like, you guys put this much into me. I can't prove that I've given you this much back, right? So it is presence in the marketplace. It is hopefully our brand is cooler now and there's a new generation. There's a bunch of different ways. Maybe we've marketed to a new group of people. We've opened up a new demographic. That is essentially what you're asking is how do you solve, like, how do you be as successful in marketing as you possibly can? And we are in the Wild West of marketing right now.
I have a couple counter takes to that though too, because you have like signature product, right? If you like have a signature boot, signature outerwear, and it sells well, that is a great metric to the fact that your name is helping move units. And that's like, you know, luckily for some of the brands I've worked with for years, that's been the reason why I've been able to maintain having a job, because if your name's on a product and it continues to sell, then you have proven value in the space. But going back to DC Mountain Lab and that era, that was pre-Instagram, that was pre-Facebook, pre-social media. So the only reason you were put on a pedestal is because these brands purchased an ad in a magazine, purchased you to be in this video. Nowadays, I would say it's actually more opportunistic in some senses because you are not at the mercy of brands. You can make your Instagram snap to where it's undeniable, where brands have to put you on, you know, and
that's
they can't
why,
sleep on you.
Yeah, and I think that's why it doesn't matter so much about what country you're from or what sponsors you have. If you're pulling those views, the dollars will be coming in.
If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense, right?
And we're snapping necks and cashing checks. I want to drive a range. I want to get asked. In the words of
Brendan Doback.
Brendan Doback from Step Brothers. Yes. It all goes back to Step Brothers.
It always comes back.
It's the movie of our generation.
Another thing I was thinking about going back to movies, you know, we have all these movie quotes. And I think the way that we used to ingest videos is like you just put the DVD in over and over, and we know all these stupid quotes. Nowadays with Netflix and shit, you like, I don't know a single modern quote. And I think the same goes for snowboard videos. They're not as quotable because they're not beaten to death like they used to be.
They aren't beaten to death, and I do think that your part in Bon Voyage, Young Jock, you're driving the golf cart around. We talk about Young Buck. Sorry, I said Young Jock. Young Buck, pardon me. I will never make that mistake again. You're driving the cart around. There's so much glue in between the shots that make it like so enticing. As I talked about that entire product that you're building in a video part or like the body of work. I think that is super, super important. I don't know if it's been lost, but I think that like YouTube videos are shorter and shorter. So you're kind of like doing that. Also, I think that is gold and needs to be brought back a little bit more. Also just old heads talking.
Well,
but
I think the personality is what we need. Heroes, and we need to know who to root for. We need to know, like, it doesn't matter like who's scoring in basketball or hockey or whatever. Like, we want to know who the character is that is the person, the personality behind them, so we can fucking latch on. It's human nature. So I think that's what a lot of riders struggle with that are very, very talented, that can do really difficult tricks. You probably see it in the contest scene a lot. Like they're incredible, but we don't know the storyline behind them. We haven't sunk our teeth into who they are as a person. I think that's just part of human nature, is we want to latch on to personalities in addition to tricks.
People want to know, and I think I appreciate you on that group chat. You gave some love to our YouTube series, and that's what we're trying to do, is like show the behind the scenes. That's what the people want to watch. Like they know you can do the craziest trick ever, but they want to know how you get ready to go to practice and what that looks like. And that's been actually quite beneficial in the sense that we're getting new viewers in and we're getting people more engaged in that space. And that kind of content, at least for me too, in other sports, that's the stuff I want to watch. Like I want to watch the hockey game, but I want to see the players, like what their pregame looks like and all that. And if you're truly a fan of the sport, that is the content you want to ingest.
Absolutely.
It's a pie, right? You need that video part of the hammers, and you need that, but then you also need the other side of the coin of like the behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, speaking of behind the scenes, go watch Hayden's edit of this weekend, right? That's a very behind the scenes thing. Hopefully there's some lulls in there.
It hasn't been made yet, but by the time it's out, we know it's a masterpiece.
It's
no pressure.
No pressure.
So Craig, you're popping YouTube off as well. Mark's, your YouTube's popping. There's a bunch of good YouTube channels that are hitting these days. But yeah,
I love it. I'm such a wake up, turn the TV on, look at the YouTube algorithm, and like watch this new content that is coming out. And I think when we talk about like how do you get out there, like YouTube's a great example of building your YouTube channel or like building your Instagram stuff. Like make it undeniable, make it impossible for them not to notice you.
Yeah, Russ has done a great job on my side, and it's been fun to let him, like, I really don't, like, I do my Instagram, and that's about it. Like, he has free range of the YouTube, do whatever, let your creative juices flow, and I quite enjoy that. Like, when he sends me the raw clip, I'm like, yeah, looks good, let's toss it up, because the kind of, the messier it is, the people like it more, honestly. It's like, curated stuff is great for a time and a place, but people want to see the real and the raw.
Absolutely. And I think it's a good thing to talk about with this landscape of snowboarding is that YouTubers, quote unquote, was generally, that space was occupied by people that lacked pedigree, so to speak, in the sport, and had figured out YouTube and how to talk to the general consumer, not the core video part consumer, but the YouTube, I like snowboarding, I want to watch something in snowboarding, and then they stumble across YouTubers, and now we're seeing you guys coming into the space, Sage Kossenberg, Sollers, Darcy.
A bit more credibility.
And so, you're seeing these people come into the space that are, they're getting both sides of the coin flipped. But that was a horrible analogy, sorry.
Classic both sides of the coin flip. I will shout out Torstein Horgmo, though, who's championed Shredbots, which I think is kind of dominated. I mean, if you go look at 150,000 subscribers of legit snowboarding, and I think I take my hat off to him because he saw an opportunity after we were in the Transworld era when you refresh Transworld, the page, and you see all the new snowboarding videos, where I think Torstein championed that Shredbots YouTube channel. So snowboarding is slow to change sometimes,
Absolutely, yeah. All right, boys, we are deep. Let's do a little check-in around the horn. It's basically third period, We've been in this game for a minute.
Highway ride the Peloton.
Yep. How are we feeling?
I feel good. Put me out, coach. Put me on the ice.
Yeah. You ready for some OT, potentially?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a shootout, honestly.
You going to go top Chad? What are we going to do? 5-hole?
Well, you know what? I'd usually go to my backhand, raise the roof.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I like that. How about you?
I've been a fan of Pasta's new shootout trick where he kind of comes in and then just puts it behind his back and you think he loses the puck and he just slings it.
Wrister from the hash.
Yeah, wristers from the hash.
Yeah, I like that. A wrister from the hash guy. Silk, how you doing back there? I've been a little quiet.
Yeah, what they said.
Wrister from the hash?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm thinking more Bobby Boo. How you doing over there? Let's get a check-in.
I'm going Forsberg.
Okay, you want to elaborate on that?
No, well, it's like the one where you kind of go backhand, or it looks like you're going to go forehand, but then you just let the puck float backhand, the one-handed tap in.
Yeah, the Forsberg.
Sorry, I was drifting from the mic too, my bad.
Or the Kucherov no shot.
Yeah, the Kucherov no shot.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know what? Put me in Ovechkin's office. I'm just going to be teed up outside the hash, just kind of waiting, stick up, calling for it, and then we're just going to back of the net, bury the biscuit. That's kind of where we're at. So, yeah. Homework's done, hand in the paper. Let's keep this podcast going. Boys, head down, pucks in deep. Let's stay focused. And, we put in the work. So, that being said, I know you've put in the work when it comes to injuries, Craig. Let's run through the Rolodex. I mean, between the McMorris brothers, there's been a lot of Dr. Hackett calls, I'd imagine. But let's run through the injury Rolodex here.
Yeah, a lot of Dr. Hackett calls and a lot of Dr. Rod French calls and Damian Maroney, who's put us back together. The Rolodex it's an interesting Rolodex. I got my first surgery when I was like 18, and it was a Bankart repair on my shoulder because it would like dislocate or sublex a lot. And this is a learning experience for me because I was 18, then I'd work on a ranch in the fall. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm young. Like I'm lifting stuff and I'm doing stuff. That's rehab, but it's not like the actual rehab that you need to do. And then my shoulders like popped out a bunch of times since then. But over the last year and a half, me and Jared Watkins have been working on it really hard, and it's been really good. So knock on wood there. But then there was also at Junior Super Park in Big Bear, I blew my knee, my right knee, and that was the second opportunity I had to like learn how to rehab yourself or like put in the work, for lack of a better term, where it's like, okay, you get your knee surgery, you're 50% done. The other 50% is actually getting back to 100% strength and learning that. And I think, Mark, you've experienced that so many times too, is like, that is the ultimate school, is you hurt yourself. And the only way you can do your job again or like find that joy in snowboarding is work your ass off. You know, and you have too. Like that is the way you learn how
HGH, I recommend, but you continue.
Either or. If you're paid to snowboard and then you get hurt, that's your job now to get better. That is what you're paid to do, is to focus at rehab and make yourself available on the weekends to go to certain things for those brands and whatever it may be. But the goal number one is to get back to helping these brands out and doing what you love, and that's snowboarding. So for me, anytime I've gotten hurt, it's just like, okay, this is my day job now. As many hours of the day as it takes, and just do the reps, and it's incredible what the human body can come back from.
It's ridiculous. Like Hayden sitting over there, we have both had compound fractures of our leg, and like where your leg is sticking out in the backcountry, like one of the most terrifying experiences of your life, just being like, ooh, like I don't know what's going to happen here. So that was a tough one as well. I also landed on a rock in the King Snow year and like cracked my pelvis and like bruised my spleen. Apparently you can bruise that as well. Didn't know that. It's a fun one. Wouldn't recommend though. Really wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, so lots of injuries, but it's a pay to play situation. I don't think you can get here. Like every pro snowboarder has been hurt. I don't think anybody's actually not, suffered a tough one. Mark,
pay the cost to be the boss.
It's a pay the cost to be the boss. Yeah. But you get hurt and then you learn how to recover from that.
Let me ask you this, Mike. In my DMs, common question, very common. Somebody will hit me up and they'll say, hey, I just got hurt. I've never been injured before. I had to get surgery. What do you recommend? Like, what do you recommend? Let's add value to the listeners here in what we were talking about earlier. But I mean, what do you guys have for advice for people that just got smoked and they're looking to get back on track?
Spend the money. This is the most valuable thing that you will ever own in your entire life, is your body. So if you get hurt, I know it, like, spend the money. Whatever money you have, spend that on getting better. Like physiotherapy really helps. Acupuncture, whatever you need. If it's mental, like spend the money on therapy.
Do the research
and like spend that money and that time and that energy. Like invest in yourself, I think is the most important thing. Also, patience, I think, is a really good one, because everybody puts themselves on a timeline. You hear a doctor say, this is your timeline, or a physiotherapist say, this is your timeline. Be patient. I always add a little bit to that, because you just because your body's back doesn't mean your head's back. I don't know, Mark, if you felt the same way, or Chris, after your injuries, like you'll go snowboarding and then the doctor's like, you're good to go, but you're just like not there. Like give yourself some time, be patient, be generous to your body.
It does. Yeah. When they give you a timeline, it's usually to be a functioning member of society, just walking around and doing this. Like what we do to be a top tier, like snowboarder, you need to be 110% if you want. And it's not fun to go snowboarding if you're not feeling 100%. Like half-assing it doesn't really work. So just take the time away and get to 100% before you ever even go snowboard again.
Yeah. I like that. I got another take to add to that too. I'm pretty corny, kind of spiritual person in this way, but I always subscribe to like the everything happens for a reason situation. I see a lot of people that struggle with acceptance, and I think that's a huge part of it. Like, you got smoked, accept it. Like, I just fucking broke my leg. Not how did this happen? How can this happen? Poor me. It's like, I look at it, I'm like, I need to chill right now. This is forced chilling. And then I think when you get into the rehab, there's like a fire burning. You get to relight that fire to want to go snowboarding, and it's nice if you have something all the time, you take it for granted, and if it gets taken away, you burn. I'm sure both of you guys can relate to that, right?
100%.
You can't change the past; you can only change the future, right?
Yeah, and that time to like get excited and
it definitely relights a fire for sure. Anytime I've been hurt, going back snowboarding is a whole new appreciation for it. And you're like, I don't take this for granted, but when it gets ripped away from you, you're like, holy shit, I want to get back there.
Yeah, that was cool in the vlog where you went, was it New Zealand or something this year? It was like cool. He's like, this is my first time hitting a jump in a while.
Yeah. I was like, I hope my speed gauge is on.
Gangster. I also have a note here, Craig, that you love pasta and you love tequila. Would you like to elaborate?
I hate change, and I love those two things. So, no, I'm a fine tequila connoisseur, and I love pasta. I love a good. Is it pasta or pasta?
Well, Canadian, it's pasta. It's pasta here. It's also David Pasternak in Boston.
That's
so
true.
You have some options.
What's the Massachusetts way of saying it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a choose your own adventure scenario. Yeah. Okay. So, let's talk tequila brands. You got any recs?
Salento Tequila out of Encinitas is probably one of my favorite tequilas you can drink. They have an incredible añejo, incredible reposado, and a fantastic blanco. The añejo is obviously aged a little bit longer, a little bit of a darker tequila, full-bodied, smoky vanilla taste. So if you're going to go maybe on a rock or just like straight up, I like that one. And then you're going to toss a little bit of soda water and a lime. You toss into the blanco. That's usually aged under 6 months. Salento's all organic and a wonderful brand of tequila. So if you see it in the store and you're into that, grab a bottle and enjoy responsibly.
Wow, that's great. Use promo code Craig Mick for 20% off. Now, I got to ask, I was talking to Joe Sexton a while ago, and he said that he went over to a party with some hockey guys. His brother's a hockey guy, and they were chugging vodka Pedialites. You guys have any, is that something that helps as an athlete? Just asking for a friend.
Were they drinking and working out at the same time?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
JVR's weight set.
Did he have his name on the plates?
Yes, he did. He had his name on the weights. Yes. Yep.
I cannot say I've done the Pedialyte, but I do think the soda and lime, if you squeeze lime juice in there's some electrolytes in there that might help you the day after. It's a pro tip. But keep it clean. Take the sugars out of it. I feel like that's what kind of bugs me at the next day.
Okay, I like that. Now, we're talking injuries earlier. You guys had some leg injuries. I've injured my third leg a few times. Do you guys have any recommendations of how to heal that?
That's just rest and recover.
That's a rest. Yeah, it's an R&R situation.
Give it a couple days, it'll be back out there.
Is that self-induced or?
It's an R&R. Yeah, well, there's been a couple. I don't want to get into details, but
third leg injuries are nothing to be taken lightly.
All right, the trains come off the bus a little bit, the tracks. I can't talk anymore. We're heading into overtime, boys. Saddle up, head down, pucks in deep.
Should I put the hockey helmet on for the last
Yeah,
shift?
put the hockey helmet on because I love you in that visor. For the listeners, to paint a picture, I've also been wearing my hockey helmet this entire podcast, if anybody hasn't been listening. So if you're still listening, I'm sorry.
My girlfriend Jenny can smell it from here. She hates the hockey helmet smell, so I got to wash my hair after this.
What do you think about that visor, Mark?
Hey, the visor is amazing. I like the Oakley Prism, but it's definitely like a statement when you go out at adult safe hockey. Like, who does this guy think he is? But big shouts to Jake Trotier for making sure we're always seeing properly.
Yeah, love that. Prism Eye technology. We're going to get into a section of the show we call Hot Takes. Do it every episode. We're going to start off with one that we always do. And who is your GOAT as it pertains to you, your greatest of all time, your MJ, your Gretzky, both male and female? Who you got?
I was on the Airtime podcast, and Jody asked me a similar question, and I personally can't answer this one, and I reserve the right. I reserve the right to
media training.
I reserve the right to answer that.
Let me find the buzzer real quick. Hang on. Okay, continue.
That sounds like a goal horn to me. Just simply because I am such a nerd about snowboarding, and I love every aspect of snowboarding. Like, I love the X Games so much, and I love watching snowboarding at the Olympics, and I love video parts, and I love contests, and I love different eras. So it's kind of like that argument that will never have an answer. It's like okay, yeah, but this person has this many medals, and this woman snowboarder has done this in the backcountry, and this woman snowboarder has done this on rails, and how do you compare that? And like I literally get mad at myself and just go in circles of how to answer that. So, I mean, I can name a number of names. Like I'm sitting across from the most winningest Winter X Games athlete in the entire world of all time. You know, like how could you could make an argument that Mark is, right? But then you could also watch T. Ricky and be like, how is he not the GOAT? Or like there's just so many names, you know, on the women's side, like Jamie Anderson has won so much, but then you look at Zoe and like at MFR, like in the backcountry, I just can't. It actually puts me in a mental pretzel. This is my kryptonite.
I like it that CBC media training has paid off. But let me flip this on its head for a little bit, because now remove data, remove stats, remove, like when I think about the GOAT, I think about who had the most personal impact on me, like who hit my stuff where I'm like, that made me want to be a snowboarder, or however you want to take it. Does that change your answer, or are you still going CBC media training on us?
Okay, so that's a different question. That's the person who's most impacted me in snowboarding would be Mark. I've snowboarded with Mark since I started, right? So I guess that's the answer to that. The second question.
Okay. That's what I was looking for, but
female, who you got?
Female's a tough one, man. That is a really, really, really tough one. I think the 4 names I would put in there is
4 names.
I'd say Tara Dakitis, MFR, Jamie Anderson, Zoe Sadowski-Sinnott.
So we still don't have an answer to this question. This just to be clear.
A lot of answers. Choose your own adventure.
All right, that was a train wreck. We're gonna move on. I hate to categorize things, but if you're
too nice, he's Canadian.
He's Canadian. He doesn't have it.
Sorry.
Siri.
Skate hard. Okay. Would you consider snowboarding an art or a sport?
Again, you're gonna hate me for this. It's both. It is. It's both. It's both. But I would lean more to art. Okay. I think it's an art because, and I think it's so special that like you don't have to be a pro to do it. Like how many NFL football players after they retire like go play football, and how many pro snowboarders after snowboarding go snowboarding? Like I think it's an art. I'm going to answer that. It's an art. That's a definitive answer.
There's a firm answer.
Can I get a round of applause after the booze?
Let's give him. I like that. Made an executive decision there.
Decisions are hard.
Yeah. Who's the most underrated to you? Who do you view as an underrated snowboarder?
Jordan Morris.
Great answer.
I could go. You guys, this is dangerous territory you guys are treading in.
I mean,
I know.
That's great. Just stick with it.
Okay.
To get an answer, all of Canada was waiting for you to say their name. But other than that, I love that you chose an American.
I don't see nations. I'm nation blind.
Steel or powder? Choose wisely.
I can't. This is an impossible. I can't do this one because I've prided myself on.
I'm just looking for that buzzer.
I was waiting. I was like, it's coming. Yeah. I feel like my career, I've prided myself on doing both. Every single time I kind of get, like, you're at the end of a long rail trip and you're like, okay, this is a lot. Then you go ride pow, you're like, this is the greatest. Like when we were riding practice jump the other day, Mark, like that was the most fun. I was like, this cannot be more fun. But then you go have a day on the rails when it's slushy and beautiful. Like I think it's a time and place situation. So this answer can change every single day.
Yeah, a lot of people get this one wrong. It is steel, but you're not alone. Okay, best. Who's got your favorite style ever?
Oh boy.
Here we go.
Oh boy, here we go.
You thought he did bad name that video part. Wait till hot takes. For the listeners, he is wearing a Bauer bucket with an Oakley Prism visor with headphones over just to provide a little visual.
It's pink, yeah. Best style ever. Kokomo Marase.
Oh, sick. She does drip.
Wow. Do you want to elaborate?
I mean, I just watched her compete in 3 different events at the X Games. She had a completely different kit on, which, I mean, you want to talk about anti-kit crisis. She is dripped up. She did some amazing tricks on her snowboard. I think right now, like, that's the best style to me right now.
Proud of you for picking one. That was good. Favorite method? Who's got your favorite method?
Dear God. The collective sigh in this room was palpable. I'm sorry for making this so painful for everybody right now. Ben Ferguson?
He's got a hell of a method on him.
It did sound like you said that with a question mark at the end.
Yeah.
Harrison Gordon style. Ben Ferguson?
Yeah.
Damn it, who typed a question mark at the end of the old prompter?
Ben Ferguson. No, I think I love his method.
That's a good answer, minus the question mark. Okay, what's your favorite snowboard video ever made? Here we go.
Follow Me Around, Mac Dog Productions, because I watched it so much, and I thought I knew every video part ever. But yeah, that one.
Okay, do you have a favorite snowboard graphic ever made?
I was a big fan of the uninked graphics, like the really cute animals, like they had a puppy and a kitten on it. I thought were really sick. Yeah.
I'm going to derail for a second. Sparky, the board you wrote at X, that thing looks sick. What's up with that thing?
Thank you. I've been lucky enough to have my take on the process for about the last decade and even more involved over the past 5 years. And it's super fun to come up with a graphic and work with the creative team. And I'm super proud of what we made. Like the impact the Panda board had at the 22 Olympics in China was crazy. And the sell-through on that was incredible. And that was fun to have that come full circle, and like knew it was going to be in China when I wrote it, and to succeed on that board, and it was super special. And then like we did Gary the Bear, and we've done like space theme, and then this year is the Tiger, and people seem super hype on it. Super loud bass, and yeah, it's been fun.
Go ahead.
I was going to say to also change my answer. I think my favorite graphic is yet to come. I think we're going to maybe come out with something with Nidecker as well. So
okay,
it's
nice
in the
plug.
future.
Nice plug. Now,
Buddy,
now I'm
digging yourself a hole.
I like that. I love where you're at with that. Now I'm going to just derail back to Sparky here for a second. Now, is there like a metaphor with the tiger that you are like a tiger on the Sahara attacking a gazelle, and that's your competition at X Games?
Tigers don't swim; they hate water.
A snow tiger too. Yeah, no, I've been just feeling that animal vibe for a while now with Gary the Bear, the Panda, and now the Tiger. It's just feel good graphics. I'm not really one to like. I like a clean looking board, and that image of that snow tiger is so cool to me. And yeah, then we just threw a little bone on it and said Sparky was here, and just kept it lighthearted. And
so it's not, just to be clear, not a message to the competition.
No.
Okay. I'm just all right. Glad we covered that. Keep it moving. All right. This is a good one. Pants over or under the high back?
Under. Definitive answer.
Yeah, we already talked about that. If you go heliboarding 3 people, anyone in the world, you're going good times powder. Maybe there's a down bar halfway through the powder run. Who knows? But you're not filming it. You're having a good time. Who you taking in the heli?
Don, Cindy, Mark.
Wow, that's an easy answer. That was the most decisive answer yet.
Yeah, he was sure on that.
Give him an air horn for that decisiveness.
I'm learning.
Okay, I got a random one. First try, go to step down. Say go to trick backcountry.
Switchback one on a big step down. I kind of like. I've always liked that. Like, just like really floaty. Yeah.
That train's never late.
Nope.
No. Always on time.
Almost early sometimes, actually.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little early. Okay. Dream sponsor. You could have any sponsor in the world. Doesn't have to be snowboard related. Who do you want to ride for? Again, he is wearing a Bauer hockey helmet with a Oakley visor.
And he's pondering.
And he looks very serious.
Maybe the NHL.
Woo! The Chell.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They give me millions of dollars, and then I just go to a couple hockey games a year. That's the deal.
You know what? I'm so glad you said that, because we have a guest question from Neil from the NHL.
Naylor Neil?
Naylor Neil. I didn't put it in the podcaster because it slipped my mind. But here we go. This is from Neil.
Craig, what's up, beauty? Naylor Neil here. Those mitts were looking pretty good when you were playing hockey at that outdoor NHL game in Edmonton. Bit of a 3-parter here. First up, would love to hear about you and Chris's experience at outdoor NHL games. Second, really want to know who's the best hockey player between you, Mark, and Diesel. Third, but not least, which pro snowboarder should we host next at an NHL game? Love you guys. Keep crushing it.
Wow. Thank you, Naylor Neil. Great question. My experience, I think, Chris, you had the same one, was like truly amazing. I play a lot of hockey, but going on an NHL ice surface and feeling how flexible the glass is, I would just skate at the glass and it feels like a wrestling ring. Like it bends back and like sends you in. And just like the sounds and all that kind of stuff, like you watch it so much on TV, it feels so real. I was at the one in Edmonton, the Winter Classic between the Flames and the Oilers. And you were in Boston. It was the Bruins. Bruins Pens.
Bruins Pens, yep.
Yeah. So from my experience, absolutely incredible. How was yours?
Yeah, unreal. I mean, being in a stadium, the echo of the skates and the stick, and we're out there, and Craig's actually very proficient at hockey. I'm a bit more of a goon, and so there's hockey influencers out there and like really good hockey players, and they're doing Michigans and all. There's a goalie, and I'm out there just lobbing muffins at him, and it was really fun. So once in a lifetime, touched Gretzky's hand. My brother's kids both got a pound from Gretzky because he walked in between broadcasts. So that was a life-changing moment. But yeah, thank you for that, Neil. Now I'll revert back to part 2 of his question.
Thank you very much, Neil. Best hockey between me, Mark, and Diesel. He's referring to my father, Don, a.k.a. D-Block, a.k.a. Diesel. He could be referring to you as well. Both Diesel nicknames. I'm going to give it to Don. We kind of covered that one. And then thirdly, who is a NHLer that you should have out? Really sneakily good hockey player is Travis Rice. When we were in Alaska, they cleared off the lake and we played a little 2-on-2 game, and he is built like an NHLer. Like he is huge and he can skate fast and he's a big body out there. So it'd be exciting to see him on the ice.
Love that. And then as far as like Sexton's pretty good at hockey. I'm trying to think of other people that lace him up.
Bo Bishop is actually an amazing goalie. So shout out Bo Bishop. He's a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. So he's had his heart broken for a number of years, but maybe it changes this year.
Like that. There's some hot takes, and we're still in hot takes. Last question we like to always ask, worst trend. Do you have opinion on worst trend?
Okay, actually, the worst trend ever in snowboarding, you don't see it too much, is grabbing your snowboard by the high back and then dragging your toe side edge along the parking lot as you walk to the lift. It's a pick up your fucking skateboard, Chaz situation from Wedding Crashers. I just cannot stand that. That drives me nuts.
I like that. A bit of a flex, though.
It is. It's just like, I get this gear for free. So
Yeah.
no, it actually grinds my gears a bit too.
You don't ever flex on them with it, Sparky? Even after
if there's a good amount of snow in the parking lot, I'm fine with it. But yeah, just
pick up your skateboard.
Yeah, just pick it up.
That's a good take. I think a lot of people can resonate with that. All right, home stretch. One more run through while smelling salt available at bombhole.com to get us through.
Promo code Chris Grenny for 0% off.
Exactly. Silk D, you want to kick us off?
Here we go. Oh, good batch.
Oh, that's good. Oh,
it's a powerful.
All right. We got to ask setups. What you riding? Run us through it.
I'm running 2 boards right now. I have the Alpha APX 162, and I also ride the Sensor Pro 158. So I like those two. I use the Sensor Pro for like rails, park, that kind of stuff, and then the Alpha APX in the backcountry. And really liking those. I run the Canon X bindings and the Rift Boot 10.5. Yeah.
What about setup? You forward lean?
There's angles. Well, the angles.
Width?
I don't know the width. I usually go reference stance, and I go about like 13 on the front one, and then negative 8 or 9 on the back foot.
Okay.
Edges?
Same. Quack, quack.
Edges. Edges. Depends what I'm doing. If it's like POW, I'll just leave them factory, and then if not, shout out to like Underground Tuning as well as Ryan McDermott at Monocrea, who's helped me out a lot. They've been wonderful, and they usually kind of put they don't take the edge off, but they put like a rail rider edge on it, they call it.
A rail specie. Okay, what's next for Craig McMorris?
Well, I'm going to recover the knee right now from that bone bruise. As we mentioned, landing on a rock was not super fun, but this has brought the spirits up. After you get injured, you kind of get a little sad. I've been feeling really good, so this has been fun. So thank you, everybody in the room. I appreciate it. Go watch the Welcome to the Team part as well as the YouTube that we filmed here on YouTube. A little behind the scenes, and then obviously the Welcome Team part was all street hammers. hopefully get in the backcountry. Hopefully it slows in Whistler, and we get some A grades in the powder.
Love that. And before we throw a bow on this throw any thank yous out or anything like that?
Absolutely. Major thank you to everybody in this room. This has been super fun. I've really enjoyed myself. I can't speak for all of you. Major shout out to my girlfriend Jenny and Mr. Leonard, our dog. Don and Cindy, Mark McMorris, everybody in Whistler, everybody that's ever lived in Canada or been there. Thank you so much. Everybody in snowboarding. And thank you, Chris, for creating such an amazing, amazing space for snowboarders to share their story, to have fun, to laugh, to cry, to do it all. So thank you. Thank you, Sparky.
Boys.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bud. It's a pleasure to co-host.
We did it. Great show.
Thanks for watching.
Bobby Boudoir, thank you.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you. All of our sponsors, thank you. All of our Patreon members, thank you so much. And you guys, Craig, Mark, thanks for coming on. It's been a blast. And we got another show coming at you next Wednesday. Over and out from the bomb hole. Yeah. What a great show, guys. That was magic.
Thank you, guys.
That was magic.